happened in the monkey story?
Anoman. Yes, he made a promise to bring Cinta home.
Was he lucky?
He got caught, and flames rose. A huge fire. Yes, a man will always admire.
What happened in the monkey story?
Anoman. Yes, he made a promise to bring Cinta home.
Was he lucky?
He got caught, and flames rose. A huge fire.
He is a legend.
Yes, a man will always admire.
Grandpa, what happened in the monkey story?
Anoman. Yes, he made a promise to bring Cinta home.
Was he lucky?
He got caught, and flames rose. A huge fire.
they ass, bitch, I'm on the rail. I wrap it, I bag it, I pack it for sale. Got feeling on speed out, I hit me to chill. I give it a thrill, I put it on film. Niggas facade, get applaud, that ain't real. Come to my section and flex, we can tell. I got a show where she dipping them nails. I'm flipping my L's, I know they can tell. I did it too major, they hit me for favors. Been him since the cable was cut in the cradle. What's up, only right that I do it. Colossal until I'm a boss, so they want me to fail. Look, we prevail. Tell them to point out who said that they run it. Bitch, I'm on your tail. Know that they talking, they telling them tales. Just know how to tell. That shit for the sale. Hey, they talk like they got it, but they need to stop it. I'm leading with logic, my heartbeat is frosted. I seen it, got optics I needed from Shawty. She mean with the top and it's obvious.
Last week, the top teams of the Americas crossed fate in the Kings Arena, battling out neck to neck through the first week of the arena stage. Today, the battlefield continues and resets, and the 6 teams will rise to their calling and have a fresh chance for regional glory. Welcome back, everyone, to the NAKA Season 1, Day 1 of Week 2. I'm your caster Liz, joined at the desk by the wonderful Private Dancer.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? And thank you for that intro. Absolutely correct. We are taking that exciting energy and building it into momentum here for the second week of the NAKA tournament.
Yeah, this is the NAKA Season 1 tournament, and we've had an exciting show with the previous arena stage, but today everything resets. And let's take a look at the tournament format once again, Private.
Yeah, just in case you forgot, we have broken this weekend up into 3 phases this Saturday. Today, you will witness the first 2 phases, Phase 1 and Phase 2. Phase 1, which we're about to get underway, will be all 6 teams competing into a best of 3 move. The winner will move on to Phase 2, compete in a round-robin format in a best-of-1 to award our challenger the honor of moving on to Sunday.
Yeah, once again, I mean, last week, DJB actually made it to the challenger, so now they're secured for Phase 3. And all of these teams today will have a chance to fight for their ultimate prize pool.
Exactly, that is going to be a total of $6,000, 62,500 tokens that will be broken up into the weeks to follow. As you know, every single week it'll be a reset. Every single team has a new chance to get that $1,000 and 10,000 tokens for each week. Then as we move on to the playoffs, it's going to be about the same thing. You have that big winner at the top will be winning $2,000 this time, and 15,500 tokens for first place. The rest of the money and tokens you can see dispersed there through our playoffs.
That's right, Private. The total prize pool will be $6,000, but every week, the champion will get $1,000. So it's a fresh chance every week. And this week, we will have another chance for all the teams who didn't make the prize pool last week, but then this time they have a fresh start, right? And looking at today's schedule, guys, we will see the best out of 3 for the Phase 1, and then moving into Phase 2 for whoever wins in one of these best of 3s into the round robin format. Now, the first game today, we will see Flash Smileadon versus Fire Legion Esports, a new name that made themselves into the list today.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what's so exciting about how this happens is how, as the teams move on, the structure continues to adjust so that new teams will be here on the Saturday and then possibly a new challenger. As we look on to the next match, match 2 will be N19 taking on newcomers Midnight Thieves, who are looking to set a standard and set a tone with their first match here tonight. Then last match of the series, or of the phase, should I say, will be Stamina Esports taking on Trolls Inc.
Yeah, speaking about Trolls Inc., we've seen them perform last week, but they had to fight up against the challenger of last week. So this week we get to see them fight a fresh team. And for some information for you guys about the new teams that joined the list. This week, we actually have Midnight Thieves for top 1 players for NA Open Series Split 5 and top 2 player for NA Open Series Split 3. And for the other team, they're actually the top 16 of the Open S5 Latam North. So this tournament will feature all 3 regions of the Americas. Now for Midnight Thieves, their clash lane will be Lost in the Sauce. For the jungle, it'll be SCV. For the mid lane, it'll be Team O'Clara. For the roam, it will be Acheronce, and for the gold lane, it'll be Super Makoko. Private.
And big mouthfuls for all of those team members. And let's take a look at the team members for Fire Legion Esports. Bringing up the Clash lane, it'll be Rainy. In the jungle, Deathmaker. Mid lane will be taken up by Skylar Honey. The roam will be taken up by Anne, and the farm lane will be taken up by Skybang. Bloody gonna be there as a substitute for his team.
Yeah, I mean, these teams are definitely very creative with their names. A mouthful to read, but let's see if they match their skill with their names. Now, the first team we will have Flash Smileadon, right? They were the top 2 teams in this open qualifiers, but last week they got taken down by DJB Club. But this week they have another chance to kind of go into the series, right? For Flash Smileadon, we have in the Clash lane, Liuli. For jungle, it's Demon Cat. For the mid lane, it'll be Muaji. For the roam, it'll be KT. For the gold lane, it'll be Forest. And for the sub, it'll be Pelican.
Yeah, it's going to be a very interesting match there. Names that already stick out to me. KT and Demon Cat pretty much made a name and a staple for themselves last weekend with some very solid performances. Unfortunately, it wasn't enough to keep them from getting dethroned as the top 2 teams here in North America. So they're going to be working their way here, maybe looking for a little bit of revenge to get that momentum, to get them earning their seat back onto Sunday's games.
Yeah, I mean, once again, last week, even for the Phase 2, they have proven themselves to be very strong up against DJB. And let's see today with the match as we walk into Game 1, what they have in store for us.
Yeah, very interesting thing that kind of came out last weekend was the interview, I want to say, that came out that when they talked about their picks, when they talked about draft, they talked about how they had well, at least the winning team talked about how they had the most success when they went with out-countering, when they didn't try to counter out the other team, when they went with something that they were comfortable with and just took that down the lane. And we'll see if maybe teams here might start kind of sitting back, leaning on some of those comfort picks to kind of get them ahead.
Yeah, but I mean, looking at the draft right now, we see on the side of on the left side we have the Young Gen is one of the best junglers right now, just for the sustainability and how much he can do with his ultimate, right? But Zhang Fei is one of the strongest tanks we've seen so far in this tournament. He has such a high win rate if you know how to play it correctly, especially now paired up with the Chicha actually not making it to the ban list this week, Private.
Yeah, I think there's a little bit more flexibility that we have for a lot of these players when it comes to that Chicha. I think people are starting to step back, especially as we got into some of the later rounds. Chicha started making it through. Now, heck, there were even some where she wasn't banned and she wasn't picked, letting some people know that maybe she's not as high on that meta or that tier list for a lot of these teams. So maybe giving them a little false sense of comfort here. We're going to see if that kind of pays off for the side of Flash Smileadon if they secure that up.
Yeah, but I mean, Chicha is just such a flex pick right now. She's so viable for both the farm lane and the Clash lane, but she is a more newer hero, so you really have to be able to master her kit to have her as a very effective position into your draft. And this week, we get to see how these teams actually practice more on the Chicha and play it into their comp. But Nuwa on the left side, we actually seen such success rate with Nuwa in the past week of tournaments. So I really like this mage pick, especially paired up with something of a front line like Young Jin.
Yeah, interesting thing that I'm seeing here right now, we've got a little bit of early game security with the Motsa pick because you've got a lot of CC, you've got some range in there as well that will help the Nuwa kind of get escorted around in the early game where she really, really struggles, especially now that we're at a point where every single mage needs to build anti-heal. That has slowed down Nuwa's game even more. So that's coming up against something like Smileadon has here right now. They have the Haya pickup. They have the Zhang Fei pickup. The two very good early game picks. You've got a lot of strength in that, a lot of rotating ability that can get to those side lanes that can really become a menace in that early path. And I want to say for a lot of the heroes on the side of Fire Legion, you're going to need some items to really start taking off.
Yeah, especially with the Lady Sun matching up actually against the Chicha. So today we'll get to see Chicha, how she performs in the farm lane up against a Lady Sun who's more of a hit and run marksman, right? But once she gets that early game snowball and maybe 3 items or so, she will be a menace on the map. So we have to see whether or not Fire Legion Esports can actually get to that point of the game and win lane up against something like Chicha.
Yeah, and it's so important at these aspects of when it comes to these side lanes to be so careful. You don't want to be that marksman or that clash laner that gets caught in the opening seconds and gives away like a free kill for the enemy team. So it's something that I want to see from both of these teams if they're very tight, especially against a team like Smileadon.
And let's find out as we walk into game 1 of today. Private, what are we cooking here?
Yeah, just as we were talking about before, they're both going to go deep and heavy on this mid lane. Try to go ahead and support these mages, make sure that they're out there just being a presence. Already, we were talking about Haya and the damage that she can really dish out there. Already has the Motzi down to about half health, and is going to have to kind of go back immediately, is going to use that health that he has.
Oh, I mean, Zhang Fei made it to the bot lane just a little bit more quick than the Moz, and then it looks like Lady Sun's actually really low up there.
Yeah, and that's kind of like the little sacrifice that they made. You see that you can see Anne actually is very low there. Oh, Cannon Blast is out there, forces out the flash coming out from Mauji. So I want to say you've got some spells off the board very early for both of these teams right now, and both mages kind of threading that needle a little bit, getting pretty low. And then on the side of Fire Legion, you called it out that the farm lane, that Lady Soon, Skybang, just having a little bit of difficulty down there, especially because he's being double teamed without much, I want to say, rotations coming in just yet for his team.
But I would have to say the forcing out the flash and the recall for on the side of Smileadon is actually really critical, especially as we walk into the first team fight.
Oh, speaking of team fight here, we do have a little bit of a clash coming in. Does look like KT might be in a little bit of trouble there. Big box there coming out from the mage Skylar, honey. Looking for an answer. That might be it for the jungler Deathmaker, able to get away with just a nary bit of health.
Yeah, I mean, Fade is looking to kind of rotate here to the bot, but he can't catch Youngjin actually forcing out a recall. Looking at the gold is actually pretty even, a little bit in favor of Smileadon, and an invade coming in from the side.
Yeah, and that's just the kind of, I want to say, expertise that you get from the side of Smileadon. They understood they didn't need to kill the jungler. They forced him back. That was enough to let them know, all right, this is going to be a free jungle for us to just go in there, hurry up and get that. Speaking of not needing to get a kill, they do eventually put themselves on the board, finding a kill onto Anne.
Yeah, I mean, it is looking at we are looking at a 1,000 gold lead for the side of Smileadon and an extra buff on his side. But we have a Youngjin on Fire Legion Esports. It's not too critical for him.
Yeah, I'm actually a bit curious with the early pick. We talked a little bit about how maybe it's a little better for you to go on a pick that you're a little bit more familiar with, that you're a little better with. When it comes to Young Jian, I almost feel like they're maybe might be a couple better picks. I feel like the stars kind of have to align before you can really go into a fight as a Yang Jian. You gotta wait till you got all of your stacks up, you're at a full bar, then you go in, you get the growth, you get the defense, you get the damage and the pushback. But that is a very small amount of time that you have that, and to be able to get that stack, almost the same way that Zhang Fei is. Big engagement coming in here at mid. Deathmaker comes in to get some tanking damage out there from the side. Nuwa goes goes down. Skylar Honey again. That is going to be another kill for the side of Flash Smileadon. Take it for another one. 3-0. Flash Smileadon really enforcing their will on the mid lane here. Inside the domain, Mauji looking for a kill. On to the jungler. Is he going to be able to find it? The rest of the teammates were right there with the backup. A great job by Flash Smileadon to find that mark.
I mean, another invade, though, coming from Fade, taking another buff from Youngjan. The problem with Youngjan here is that he is not very mobile, right? But looking like it's going to be another clash in the mid lane.
Yeah, and it just looks like right now Flash Smileadon has firm control of the map. They understand their power spikes. They understand how quickly they're able to get ahead. 4K right now, and nice ultimate there coming out from Forest to get a little backup from Skybang, who's trying to clear out these minions. 4 members from the side of Fire Legion trying to defend this jungle here. You can see there's probably going to be a fight over this Crimson Golem, looking there lying in wait, maybe looking to try to bait this out, try to get them into a fight. Cannon Blast goes out, does not back off Demon Cat. Rest of the team is in tow. Big moves coming out, and it does not look like Fire Legion is going to be able to scoop that up. Meanwhile, up at the top, a great job on the macro.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the gold lead, it's already a 4,000 gold lead only at 5 minutes of the game, right? Private, it's actually, they're able to snowball so quickly for the side of Flash Smileadon.
Yeah, not just that, but you've already secured your Venomous Staff on the Haya, so you're going to be able to kind of take away the tankiness that I almost feel like is on a very small, limited timer for your Yang Jian. So you've really isolated the jungler there too, especially at a 0 and a 6 right now, a 5K gold lead. Flash Smileadon understands, they understand the goal. They understand what they need to be doing at every aspect of this game. They're ahead, they can bully in the jungle, and unfortunately, for Fire Legion Esports, a rude welcome into the North American Kings Arena right now, as they are learning the hard way about the damage. Annihilation, a big flash! Just, they're not gonna let them get a single kill, and there's a great flash out there to avoid the Annihilation laser as well. Another death on the board, 7-0 for Flash Smileadon, another tower pushed.
I mean, this Nua is trying so hard to carry the game, but it doesn't seem like she's able to connect, and the damage is just slowly falling off, right? Right now, we're already seeing the inhibitor turn getting crashed.
Yeah, 6 minutes and 41 seconds, and the enemy is already at the inhibitor turrets. They pretty much backed off. They own this jungle right now, and what you're looking for is hopefully a mistake by Flash Smileadon. If you are Fire Legion Esports, you don't have enough damage, you don't have the anti-heal right now, and unfortunately for them, you can see them just enforcing their will as they move from tower to tower.
I mean, right now, it will take somewhat of a miracle for Fire Legion Esports to actually come back from this, but Haya is in the pit again and takes down Lady Sun just like that.
Yeah, really interesting is you saw that Skylar Honey on that new picked up Scepter, which kind of went through its own little nerfs a little bit ago. So it's not really the big item you want as a burst. So yeah, this is just very quick and very I want to say textbook coming out from Flash Smileadon. Maybe a little bit of a little blood hungry from them for getting eliminated from the top 2 last weekend.
I mean, that is the revenge game for the side of Flash Smileadon. I want to prove to us that they are still one of the strongest team, right? They bring in that international experience from the KMW, and they showed it with that decisive victory.
Yeah, and you can take a look here at the items. I mean, you kind of you're almost at a point where, I mean, even when looking at the items, there wasn't much that Fire Legion could do on that because they had so little gold compared to Flash Smileadon. However, even with that itemization, you kind of went the wrong way with your big damage. Nua, that a Scepter doesn't really have that big a burst anymore as well. So there were just a lot of these different tiny mistakes that ended up adding up.
And when you're facing up against a team like Flash Smileadon, it brings in that experience. Every mistake you make, every advantage you gave to the enemy team, you're kind of putting yourself, setting yourself back for failure.
Yeah, and that's unfortunate for Fire Legion Esports. Yeah, you can see here, not even a contention. Complete domination by Flash Smileadon, but it's competing at these levels is where you get that experience, where you really understand the mistakes you made, know that you have to tighten up everything. You can't just let these keep on making these same mistakes that you do during peak or that you do during the ranked games. You have to tighten that up, make sure that the communication is good as well. Here, Flash Smileadon just putting on a course.
I mean, absolutely, but this will be a best out of 3 series, right? So for Fire Legion Esports, they still have one more game to kind of reposition themselves and kind of learn from their mistake in the previous game and maybe draft a little bit better, have something of a response to the side of Flash Smileadon, and really put a smile on everyone's faces, right? So
it's kind of a tongue twister. Flash Smileadon, Fire Legion Esports. Wow. But yes, you're absolutely right. There are a few things there, especially when it came to the draft. There really wasn't. You saw right from the beginning they were able. Flash Smileadon was able to rotate very quickly, even if it wasn't Haya herself. You had FS who was able to get down to the bottom lane, already start harassing the marksman, pushing them back to a less than 50% health by the first minute, and then just things start steamrolling. Once you start forcing out that the marksman's going to be low, they're not going to be helpful during those fights that you have. Once you engage in those fights, you force the jungler out, and they had a great plan that didn't even really need kills, but they were still getting those kills. They knew that if they forced the jungler back, they were able to get into the jungle. They knew that when they won the fights, they could push the tower. Everything was textbook what you would like to see from a team that knows how to execute.
You're right, Private. And as we walk into the second game of the series, we get to see whether Fire Legion Esports will have a better answer towards the mid to late game.
Yeah, and it's something that, like I said, Young Jian, he's an interesting pick. He can be all right. I feel like there are some picks that can do what he does, what you're trying to do as him, maybe a little better if you're trying to tank. There's Ogren that can kind of get there. If you're trying to get to the back line, maybe using those hounds to kind of get to the back line. I feel like maybe there's answers like Dune who can do it and stay pretty tanky as well. Maybe even like a Dolia combination with that. It just it felt like the measure of success, they really narrowed themselves into this small corridor where if anything went awry outside of that, and it was going to spell failure for them. And Flash Smileadon was very quick to take advantage of that.
And looking at the draft coming in from both sides, right, are we seeing a Flowborn mage on the side of Fire Legion Esports?
Yeah, that's going to be very interesting. There's a lot of potential burst that's been very scary from a Flowborn mage. You don't see it too often just because of the range of the Flowborn. You have to get a little bit closer than a lot of people are very comfortable getting, especially when you have something like a Mei Shiranu on your team. You're going to have a Motzi that's going to have those cannon blasts. So much CC that I would be very concerned about where my escape is going to be if I'm going to need to get that close to really dish out that type of damage. I do like what we're picking out as far as some of our roam pooks. Lian Po, a great head first, face-to-face, a tanker there with a lot of CC, a lot of tanking ability as well as we move on to the second phase of the banning.
Yeah, we see Hanshin actually making it to the side of Flash Smileadon. He might be one of these picks that we talked about, a comfort pick for the players themselves, as I don't think Hanshin right now is one of the meta junglers. There are better options, but then maybe he's just very comfortable with that, with playing it, right? So we get to see how Hanshin actually plays out in this comp.
Ooh, and again, we kind of give away that Chicha pickup, but it looks like that's going to be going into the Clash lane there. with Marco Polo. I don't even know that we've seen a Marco Polo in these last 2 weekends. Yeah, I feel like Flash Smileadon is definitely very comfortable right now with what they're picking right now. I think that last match kind of gave them a little bit more confidence in what they can do and where they are against Fire Legion Esports. So I want to say that this is on Fire Legion Esports. This isn't like the greatest, the most meta position you have coming from Flash Smileadon. We're going to see if maybe Fire Legion Esports can take advantage of that.
Yeah, I mean, we get to see as we walk into the second game of this series. I mean, we get to really see how the different heroes actually play out in different positions, right? The Chicha, Flash Smileadon showed us how it was played in the farmland. In this game, they get to show us that as well, their Clash scenario is able to master it. So I'm really excited to see how this Chicha lanes up against something like the Mulan, who did so much last game for the side of Flash Smileadon, but this time, Fire Legion Esports will get to have it in its pocket. So let's walk ourselves into the second game of this series, Private. I'm very excited.
One thing that Flash Smileadon was so successful in with the first game is their early game rotations and how much pressure they were able to exert onto those side lanes here. You see already a Cannon Blast catches 2 members of Fire Legion right now, and you can see already at half health might be in a little bit of trouble. Big pop-up comes, and an early kill for the side of Flash Smileadon, picked up there by Liulu.
I mean, I have to say, he just overstayed his welcome, and now with something so strong in the early game like Mai, it's looking like the jungler is not even able to escape.
And another kill there. They really bit off more than they could chew. A great bait there by Liuli. Very low, kind of like hanging around there like, hey, I know you want to come and get me, but having all of those dashes. Then KT right there with another pop-up, another stun coming in, finding themselves a kill. Another Cannon Blast lands on them. They are just so oppressive in this mid lane, and they haven't even rotated yet.
Yeah, and we really get to see a Wuyan in the jungle coming from Fire Legion Esports, but not able to do that much in the early game. I'm looking at a 2-0 score right now.
Yeah, Wuyan does, I feel like, needs a few bit of items when you're going to try to be that big tankiness there. Big pop-up coming in from the side of Flash Smileadon. He's going to need to get out of there. A lot of damage coming on him, taken down to about 20%. Comes in, another pop-up lands onto the team. Going to have to use that flash to get away, but is not able to clear the distance. A trade as Demon Cat goes down. A first kill for the side of Fire Legion Esports. Flash comes out. Cannon Blast on the backup as Deathmaker blocks it for his team member.
I mean, it's not a great game for what happened in the volley. Actually, we even completely missed that. Looks like the Dragon Boy himself is taking off the map.
Yeah, and that is going to be unfortunate, especially if you have a lot of items starting getting onto this Marco Polo. I feel like we've got a decent amount of CC, so I mean, it won't be too bad as long as we can kind of contain that. Another kill comes out. They are able to answer back this time, so it's not completely overwhelming for the side of Fire Legion. They're able to find some answers, able to get a little bit more comfortable here. You can see here now that damage coming out onto KT, but really not backing him up just yet. Deathmaker looking for an opportunity, comes in from the backside, is not able to find the stun.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of team fights coming in so early into the game, right? But with both games, it looks like even with the step back from the first game, Fire Legion Esports is not backing down, and they're just clashing in and out in the mid lane.
Oh, big pop-up comes in from the back. Liuli on the Mai Shanu is able to find the pop-up and the kill, and is down for the count. That's going to bring their lead to 7-2 now with that kill up at top. Ultimate coming out from Monji at the top lane.
Once again, almost a 3k gold lead just at 3 minutes, right? Before the first objective even spawned. I don't know if that's the tactic that Fire Legion Esports really want to go to, especially when they have a lone that really needs that farm.
Yeah, and man, you're gonna need some of this CC where you're starting to get all these items onto the Marco Polo. It's gonna be kind of unstoppable once you start kind of wasting out some of this CC. He can come in with that fevered barrage and pretty much just paint your entire team with damage here. Now starting to be refused in their own jungle underneath their tower. You can see the big damage coming out there. Skybang didn't even have time to get away or use his infinite vastness.
I mean, that's a great trade coming in from the side of Flash Smileadon, right? They force the Long to once again be sent back to space. Something that needs so much farm towards the late game when you're playing up against an early game comp like the side of Flash Smileadon, and you're leaving the dragons uncontested.
Yeah, and right now they're doing such a great job of continuing on this harassment. Like there's no resting for the side of Fire Legion. You've got Cannon Blast coming out. You've got the fear of the Mai Shiranu coming in and getting the dive onto you. Unfortunate for the side of Fire Legion. Only about a 2K gold lead, so I want to say not as bad as the last game. This is a much more lackadaisical composition coming out from Flash Smileadon. So Fire Legion, they're finding some openings that they need.
They are finding some openings, and especially for something like the Long to kind of scale in towards the late game. They need to have that late game coming in this game. But once again, it looks like a little bit of an engage app up at the blue bar.
Wu Yan tried. There was only 2 people there to try to help them out. Infinite Vastness is out. Looks for it. A swing and a miss. A flash coming out from Liuli, able to get out of the way. That's not going to be a death picked up for Fire Legion. In fact, it's going to be the opposite. Flash Smileadon secure themselves 2 more kills in the afterthought of that fight. 13-3 right now. 5:50 time on the board.
13-3 at 5 minutes. That is crazy stats coming in from Flash Smileadon, right? And especially with the Liuli's actually really popping off this game, destroying towers, destroying the enemy, and showing us why Mai is so strong as an early game utility mage.
Yeah, and there goes the burst damage coming out. Skylar, Honey trying to get in there, get some damage. And 3 members in the last 30 seconds down for Fire Legion Esports. They are having trouble maintaining any of their lanes. It is just such a burst-heavy composition. And the moment you step into a bad spot, you're getting CC'd into a coma. Look at the damage coming out here. No fear underneath the tower. He's actually getting a little here there. Gets taken out, putting 4 on the board for Fire Legion.
I mean, Private, we are looking at almost a 10k gold lead at 6 minutes of the game. Just no fear on the side of Flash Smileadon as they take down one tower after another.
Yeah, they're continuing on this push, moving from side to side. This is just, as we were talking about in the first game, textbook execution. They've got a lot of burst on their team. There's not much that the side of Fire Legion is going to be able to do without trying to find somebody get caught, without somebody getting caught out there. You saw a little bit of CC there that kind of landed onto the Motzi, onto KT there. But, I mean, who are you asking to kind of go in there? You want Skybang. He's going to have to use his infinite vastness to get away. Skylar Honey is a huge problem. Oh, and another kill there as fed right now as Liuli is on this Mai Shiranu. The ability for Flash Smileadon to close the distance onto your team means like just any type of like engagement is going to end badly for you.
Yeah, if Team Fire Legion Esports actually want to have any chance in the late game, it looks like, oh my goodness, Wu Yan not being able to secure any buffs towards the late game in both games is not looking at a great game right now.
Yeah, 19-5 here right now. Fire Legion Esports are doing their best to try to fend off this attack from the back line. Big pop-up lands on the 2, and that actually, it didn't even result in a death from the side of Flash Smileadon, really exercising that mechanical ability on their opponents. I mean, you're gonna have to give props up here for Fire Legion to kind of come in here unannounced to try to take a seat here in the North American Kings Arena, but I mean the competition is stiff and they are learning it the hard way.
Yeah, I mean this is their first first series of this tournament, right? And they're up against some of the best teams of this qualifiers. So they are looking at a mountain to climb. And I mean, they still have another week to prove themselves. But for now, it looks like it will be a great heel to kind of actually get through.
I mean, you're basically going up against the number 2, now number 3 team, but like, I mean, you were number 2 a week ago here, so I mean, it's a tough hill. That's a mountain to climb right now. Every single little mistake you make, you're trying to go out there, get some CC. One person from the side there tried to find themselves a flank, and Rainy is down, and just like that, Rogue gets picked off as well. There is nobody safe here. Look how quickly they're able to burst down the Wooyan, and is down Rainy, and that is going to wrap this up. A clean pick off of the entire team and a core at the 10-minute mark.
Once again, they secured that victory within the 10-minute mark, proving that they are, in fact, one of the best teams of this tournament and of the region. So congratulations for Flash Smileadon. They secured their spot, and they will be moving into the Phase 2.
Yeah, congratulations there. Big props up there. Fire Legion Esports, their first match here in the NAKA. Unfortunately, maybe I have to go back to hit the books to figure out where things went wrong here. Unfortunately, I mean, they're just, like we said, when it gets to this level, every single mistake, whether it's draft, rotations, offering up those early game deaths that we saw, that's one thing it's a big thing when it comes to this level of play is those laning phases. Offering up deaths in the early seconds, the early minutes of the game is just going to set your team so behind. For a game like Honor of Kings, where farming is so imperative, where patience, getting to that mid game, getting to those power spikes is so important here. And it's something that Flash Smileadon really understands.
I mean, of course, we see two completely different games coming in from Flash Smileadon compared to last week, right? Last week, they're really playing by the macros up against something like the DJ Beat Club. They had to, it's a very low kill game last week, but then walking into something like Fire Legion Esports, who have no fear in the early game, they really setting Fire Legion Esports one step at a time back to their base.
Yeah, I mean, a great game. Flash Smileadon really kind of showing. It's interesting that you bring up the small amount of kills that we saw last week from Flash Smileadon. And that kind of goes for when it goes to teams that understand the macro. They understand that the kills they don't need the kills. As long as they're pushing towers, they're getting objectives, and they're getting into the core, and they're getting into those high grounds there. Flash Smileadon, like I said, I feel like, especially with that second game, got a little comfortable. They're like, all right, we can take a measured stance here, go with some picks that we kind of like or are feeling a little loosey-goosey on, and kind of just exert our will here. Will they be able to continue doing that here throughout some of the other teams? We're going to have to find out.
We'll have to find out in phase 2, right? But looking at the standings right now, with that clean sweep from Flash Smileadon, it does put them into the first contender of the phase 2 into the round robin. And then moving forward, we will see N19 versus MNT and STMN Esports versus Trolls Inc. Some very exciting matchups moving forward.
Yeah, in case you guys missed it, phase 1 here, which we are at right now, is a best of 3. Flash Smileadon, our first team to move forward into our round robin phase that will happen here tonight. That will be a best of 1 round robin, and that will decide who our challenger is moving on to phase 3 on Sunday.
Yeah, very exciting matchups moving ahead. I've never seen Enhancing pop up so much as Demon Cat. I don't really like seeing Enhancing in my ranked games, but I mean, Demon Cat just proved me wrong. So anything could happen if you're really, really strong and competent on that hero.
Well, he's got a very early game set that sometimes can be, whereas Pei, you really need to be patient, and you need to kind of continue to get all that gold and stuff. There's a lot of early game that you can get with Hanshin and really take off, especially where they flexed on the first game, where they understood, oh, we've got this early game. There's really not much that's going to be able to stop us. So they went with a pick that would be able to get that burst right from the get-go.
Yeah, I mean, Private with his beef and pay, you really do not like seeing the pay on the map. I'm expecting the pay to come up a lot more than the Hanshin, right? So we'll have to find out as we move forward with the following series of tonight. Some very exciting teams moving forward. And with that being said, guys, we will have a short break, and we'll see you in the next series.
Grandpa, what happened in the monkey story?
Anoman. Yes, he made a promise to bring Cinta home.
Was he lucky?
He got caught, and flames rose. A huge fire.
He is a legend.
Yes, a man will always admire.
bitch, I'm on the rail. I wrap it, I bag it, I pack it for sale. Got feeling on speed out, hit me to chill. I give it a thrill, I put it on film. Niggas facade, get applaud, that ain't real. Come to my section and flex, we can tell. I got a show where she dipping them nails. I'm flipping my L's, I know they can tell. I did it too major, they hit me for favors. Been him since the cable was cut in the cradle. What's up, only right that I do it. Colossal until I'm a fossil, they want me to fail. Look, we prevail. Tell them to point out who said it, they run it. Bitch, bitch, I'm on your tail. Know that they talking, they telling them tales. Just know how to tell, that shit for the sale. Hey, they talk like they got it, but they need to stop it. I'm leading with logic, my heartbeat is frosted. I seen it, got optics I needed from Shawty. She mean with the top and it's obvious. They need him a target, I'm dodging their darts, make them reach for the stars. I'm dumping, I'm forcing the pun off the runs. I'm moving with caution, I'm saucing my nigga is nothing. From nothing to something they'll never be. Tycoon and I'm Dre with the thizzle face. I'm nothing my section has ever seen. Run the ice so I'm clutch, I don't need a screen. I'm Curry, I spit it from 30 deep. Do the pin and the...
And we are back. A short break as promised. The first series went into a landstill, but this game will be different. I'm your caster Liz, joined alongside Private Dancer.
Yeah, a very quick 2-game series coming out from Flash Smileadon. Very successful for them. Possibly a little bit of revenge in there. They want to get this going. They got booted out from Sunday in the top 2, so they're looking to make a statement and an impact on what an impact they made with those last 2 games. Not to be outdone, however, by our next 2 contestants here that will be going into this next best of 3.
Yeah, this week with the series, we have another new name on the board. For the series, let's take a look at the first team lineup. N19, we saw them perform last week. In the Clash lane, it will be Fitir mid. In the jungle, Fred. In the mid lane, Sui. In the roam, Akaya. And in the goal lane, Kevin and Pigwin as the sub.
Exactly. We've seen them already here last week as well. Had a great showing as even on a Sunday too as well. But newcomers to the NAKA tournament, Midnight Thieves here. As we take a look at the team members, Clash lane will be taken up by Lost in the Sauce. Jungler SCV, mid lane and Mage will be taken on by Timo Clara. Rome will be taken on by Archon, and the farm lane will be taken on by a Super Michoko. Super Michoko. That's so fun to say. But yeah, and it's going to be very interesting to see how they clash in here, especially this being their first match here at this level.
Yeah, I mean, N19, they are the Latin America Peak Top 1 and the NA Peak Top 1. But not to say for Midnight Thieves, they have the top 1 players for the NA Open Series Split 5 and the top 2 players for the NA Open Series Split 3, right? So both teams looking very strong as we walk into the first draft for the first series of this of the second series.
Yeah, and as a new team, I'm kind of wondering what the strategy is. For me personally, when you're like the new guys, you kind of want to go with like the default what is strong. For me, that right now, that is a tanky and a supporty type of compositions that are very heavy, very CC heavy, and can really take a licking. Maybe we'll see if there's going to be something different here. I know what we saw from the last game was there needs to be some security for that early game. You can't just allow a team to kind of roll over you and not have some type of backup to kind of be able to kind of reclaim some of that lost ground. Here, from N19, they're going to go ahead and scoop up the Mai Shiranui.
A lot of kind of standard draft and ban this game, right? We see the new one, the Menace in the mid lane getting banned out, and the Dahlia. Zhang Fei, as you mentioned, one of the strongest tanks right now, also taken off the board. And looking at the side of Midnight Thieves, they actually have the Chicha that performed a lot better in the last series, I would say, up against an early game battle mage like the Mai. It is in anyone's game based on the current draft we see.
Yeah, it's really interesting to me is some of the focus that kind of comes out from N19 is they're going to take out the Zhang Fei, which I want to say is kind of like a staple pick for that roam position. I want to say probably the most popular pickup in that roam position because of all of what he can fill and do in that position. Here, we've been allowing that Chicha continually to come out, where last weekend she was rightfully banned. I want to say in the last series that we saw, Chicha had some huge reasons in supporting that team and their success. And 19 can go with a Gouda pickup as well. So they're going to probably go with what I would have gone with as a new team, which is that tanky frontliner.
Yeah, I mean, with the Aguda, we saw how well she performed last week, having so much mobility as well as the tankiness and just being able to take down towers so much faster than the enemy jungler. And right now, banning out the idea of really strong support off the map once again. N19 is missing a support. They can go for something more of a support or a tank position. Looking at their lineup right now, it is already really tanky. So they're looking to ban out some of the jungler options for Midnight Thieves.
I do kind of like both of these drafts so far when it comes to being able to support the mid lane and kind of get into those side lanes. Both have secured some mages that really do very well in that early game. I want to say almost here, my Shiranui actually kind of is going to be at a disadvantage just because she clears very slow. So she's really going to be leaning on the roam to kind of help her clear out that lane and rotate just as fast as you would get from a Haya, who could pretty much do that off base. Here, more bans coming out. Very interesting. N19, like I said, I was kind of assuming that coming from Midnight Thieves, we would get a more tankier composition, but N19 seemed to be taking out a lot of those assassin and mobile heroes.
But I mean, when we see the lamp pole being picked out for Midnight Thieves, so when you have something that is really tanky on the support role, you kind of expect them to pull out a more of a assassin jungler. So they are looking ahead and into banning the Luna, banning the Jane, leaving, a Nuja potentially coming in for Midnight Thief.
This is something I haven't seen in a very long time. This is what you get for, he gets those dots, that big anti-heal that you can put onto enemy teammates. And then that is especially being able to traverse the entire map, basically, to lock onto that back line. The only problem, though, is your team going to be able to support those ultimates where you're basically locking on and your team's going to have to kind of chase you down just to make sure that they're there to support you and you're not sitting there just surrounded by 4 enemy team members. A lot of survivability from a Nezha, though, and you have a great front line when it comes to the Yangjian as well.
Yeah, it does seem like Midnight Thief have a pretty early to mid game draft. In terms of late game, we have the channel on the side of N19, right? When the channel gets the items that it needs, it will be really hard to kill towards late game. And if we actually get to that late game point for N19, but looking at the draft, I'm really excited to see how these specific heroes line up against each other. We're gonna see once again the Chicha in the farm lane, a very utility early game and a lot of reset with his skill, with his spells. So a lot of potential for Chicha up against the channel even.
My only question though is as soon as Haya gets into that level 4, we need to be executing. We need to be getting in onto the enemy lines. We need to be getting kills, and we need to be doing enough with it. Otherwise, damage-wise, we're going to start falling behind very quickly, especially with 3 very tanky heroes on our team. If we kind of sit back and play a passive game here, I feel like this is going to go to N19 with the early aggressiveness that they have on their team. We'll see if both of these teams can play to their win conditions.
Yeah, like you mentioned, the early game, they do have a lot of sustain as well, but whether or not it takes it into the late game, we'll have to see as we walk into game 1 of the second series.
Yeah, very interesting. I love what I see, because this works on so many different levels, the tankiness that you get from the side of Midnight Thieves here, because it kind of plays off the fact that my Shiranui, you kind of want to go burst on her. You want to get her very quickly. Oh, look at that clear speed. This is why I love Haya in the mid lane, how quickly she can get there. And you can even do that by yourself. Here they had 3 members there. Unfortunately, like I said, I don't really feel like we're utilizing that as much as we could. Oh, big invade there actually coming out. Trying to engage onto this. Might have been caught there, pop-up. And that is going to be a kill for the side of M19. Lost in the sauce, unfortunately. The only person to check and let his team know that, hey, they're invading. That allows them some time, though, to go ahead and invade here themselves.
I mean, a good call walking into the bush, but he just walked into his own demise, right? And that leaves the buff taken out by the Aguda and another kill.
Yeah, they're really locking onto this Artron. He's trying to get away, and down goes the Chicha off screen. Haya as well, collecting those slips in death. 0-4 right now, unanswered by N19.
Yeah, with a team as strong as N19, we do see every mistake that you make will be catapulted into the enemy's advantage, right? Looking at the board, 4-0 in favor of N19.
Yeah, and this kind of goes to those little mistakes. As a Neza, you could have gone into the jungle, got that vision, and been like, all right, I see it, let's back up. But instead, I'm not sure what he was thinking to try to engage onto that. Maybe just wanted to try to refuse that buff. Unfortunate, that gave the side of N19 a little bit more gold. They got that kill, and then they kind of continued on with this rotation to meet Midnight Thieves in their own jungle and continued on with this winning ways. You can see here, this is the big value you get having an Aguda on your team. You can just dive underneath the tower, trying to defend it. Is Luke. Hopefully I'm saying that right. Luke. But unable to defend it. 5-0 right now for N19. You can see trying to put some damage on here, trying to at least put some frustration onto the side of N19, but not able to really get onto a grasp. You can see the gold lead right now starting to extend a little bit past 1K here at the 3-minute mark.
And another uncontested invade from the side of N19. I mean, they're scaling really well towards the mid game, right? Especially with their comp, I would say it's more balanced than the side of Midnight Thieves. They have the late game insurance and they have the early game engage and something so strong like Aguda for pushing towers. They are looking to scale in towards that late game.
Yeah, look at all of the CC here at the mid lane as well. Ooh, we have an ultimate coming out here for Rama for forever. Is that going to be enough? Taking a very low. That flash comes out, but down goes the jungler. SCV gets popped. 0-6 for N19. The big problem here is, too, as well, for the usefulness to come out from Lost in the Sauce on this Neza, you kind of have to abandon your lane. Yeah, and you see 3 members and still able to get away. Unfortunate for the side of Midnight Thieves.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't seen Youngjin through both series get really comfortable into the jungle and really show us the tankiness and the sustain that he has, right? For both of these 2 series that Youngjin has been played, it's not looking good for the farming situation, and that doesn't allow him to kind of scale in towards being very useful in the team fights.
Yeah, and that is the problem with the Youngjian, is if you are behind, you're not getting your stacks, you're so much slower, and you're not able to get into a position where you can actually join these fights and be the monster that you want to be. That's why he kind of drops. He's still in the meta, but he kind of drops a little lower onto that. Another invade here underneath the tower. They try to pop up another one too as well. That is going to be a big win on the Mai Shiranui with a great pushback into the hands of Ayaka, who finds the finishing blow. 7-0 right now for N19. You can see the value coming out from that Aguda again. They're just diving underneath the tower. There's nothing that Lost in the Sauce can do but watch them take the tower powerless as they're able to juggle that aggro. And even just the Panda there coming out from Aguda to be able to tank all of the damage for those towers.
Yeah, I mean, with the Chicha, the first dive into the bot lane, he was a little bit, he was very confident with his survivability, right? But the second game, you can see already he's moving back and trying to kind of escape and not defend the tower, but still getting dived.
Yeah, you take a look at some of the gold there. I want to say almost every single member of Midnight Thieves is about 1K behind. That's going to start showing in a lot of these teams fights. Ooh, they actually might be able to find something here. Look at the big amount of shield coming out there from N19, but they do find the job. B tier mid taken down. It's finally going to put Midnight Thieves on the board, but at what cost? They find themselves a tier 2 tower short.
Yeah, with something like the Agoda, so much push potential, right? So much macro that he brings to the map. And looking at the map, it's not in favor of Midnight Thieves.
Yeah, they're continually pushing into this mid and bottom lane. They've kind of, I was actually expecting the top lane to be one of the first ones because of the way Lost and Sauce had to rotate on that Nedza, but it's actually kind of holding up on its own there. It's these the mid and bottom lane that are really kind of sprung some leaks and are already at the high grounds right now, really kind of showing you see N19 in their jungle, not letting up on any of this pressure here. Going to come in, big pop-ups land. Great CC coming out from N19. That's going to be Archeron down for the count. They try an ultimate from Lula, but not able to find any marks. 1-9 right now. 17K to 23. N19's lead currently.
So much dive coming in from N19, right at the get-go of the game, and now they're looking fearlessly trying to take down this last inhibitor tower, not second last inhibitor tower standing.
Yeah, you can see you even have the Blazing Cape there picked up by the Neza. Lost in the Sauce is going to go ahead and pick that up. Ooh, actually, it might be a fight that they can turn around here. Down goes the Chano pickup. Now trying to get onto the chase. Big pop-ups landing onto N19. You have the healing coming out there. Ultimate has been sprung for the Aguda. More damage coming out, turning around on them, but they do manage to create that distance.
Yeah, the Chano going a little bit too deep into the front line and getting wiped out, right? So as the game progresses, you don't want to be making that kind of mistake as a marksman.
Yeah, Ferd doing such a good job of kind of in that front line, being able to kind of use his Panda to tank a lot of the damage, get underneath these towers. That's just the value you get from Aguda, and unfortunately there just really wasn't a plan on Midnight Thieves' side to counteract that. The amount of CC that's coming out from N19 makes these engagements even harder to withstand. Here, 3 members versus 4 coming in. It's about to be an even fight. You can see on the back end, SCV looking for an escape. Not able to find it here as we dive deep into enemy hands. Ultimate coming out from the Agudas, trying to rain down the damage on their back foot. Midnight Thieves trying to lay on some suppressive fire. Nobody goes down. Thankfully for Midnight Thieves, as N19 continue their domination up to the high grounds of MNT's base.
And now looking to secure themselves a dragon. Actually already secured themselves another dragon, and their whole map, the whole jungle for them to grab.
Yeah, they're going to go ahead and turn this around, start to looking for some of those objectives to kind of close out this game. A little bit longer. I want to say it's about as dominating for N19 as it was for Flash Smileadon here, but a little bit of a longer game, a little bit bigger of a fight put up by Midnight Thieves here, trying to, you see the ultimate coming in from the flank there. Big CC catches 3 members. What a set coming in from Ayaka to catch the 3 members, and that is 4 down for Midnight Thieves and a 10-minute core for N19.
A complete wipeout just with one team fight, right? So much crowd control and so much mobility coming in from N19. They secured themselves a victory and a decisive game at the 10-minute mark.
Yeah, and I mean, right from the early stretch of that, you're able to kind of get those rotations. You're able to dive underneath the tower, which is the biggest thing too. You've got just tanky support in the Lapu, and with Aguda, that's just a super strong combo for tower diving. If there's minions coming for that tower, I would be so scared because there's just not much you can do. They juggle aggro so well. They can take the towers down so quickly. That with the threat of a Mai Shiranu, who can basically, if you're not all the way back by the tier 2 tower, she can close the distance on you and find that kill as well. A great composition coming in from N19. Unfortunate for Midnight Thieves.
Yeah, I mean, with something like the Mai Shiranu, if you're able to kind of snowball in the early game, she will be very hard to play up against. A good Mai is always strong in the mid lane, right? And looking at the side of Midnight Thieves, they kind of drafted themselves into a corner. They didn't have that late game, but they weren't able to kind of get the advantage that they need in the early game to have the power for the draft. So with the next series coming up, they have to kind of look into what they can do and how they can actually secure a game up against a team like N19.
Yeah, I almost feel like sometimes there's certain picks I like to go with in the early game. Yang Jian is kind of I'm on the fence with him right now because, as I've talked about this before, I feel like there's a lot better picks that we could go with that provide something, especially in that early game, and especially that does not narrow down your success rate. Ogren being one that wasn't even banned out there, that he is aggressive. He can invade right from the get-go. The more enemies that try to surround him, the better off he is. And I feel like with that composition, it might have worked out a little bit better than the Yang Jian. But I feel like Yang Jian has become this comfort pick for tankiness, but there's just, for me, and I keep discussing this, there's just a small, for me personally, it's too small of a window of success rate that you can do with them, where you need all of your stacks so that you can get the growth, the defense, the offense, and then be able to kind of use those dogs to be able to get to the back line. And it's going to take you some items to get there as well.
Yeah, with the itemization change in season 13, Yang Jian is one of the power picks for a lot of teams, right? But he does, like you mentioned, need a lot of support from his team. If you're not able to get the early game farm that you need, it'll be hard for him as a hero with less mobility and less escape than some of the other junglers, like we mentioned, like the Odd One, who's actually really flexible with the different builds that are available for him to adjust. But if we actually see a Dahlia paired up with either the Odd One or the Yang Jian, she will bring so much support that will actually help them pop off, right? So we have to see this game. I believe Dahlia was banned in the previous game.
Yeah, and the interesting thing too is Aguda is such a safe and secure pickup when it comes to just being able to utilize it. You throw it underneath the tower and you just DPS away. It's like, it's kind of, I don't want to call it a mindless pick, but it's one of those that it's like it's a very clear strategy and kind of hard to mess up. Like, I mean, you just you throw your panda ultimate into the tower, everybody dives in underneath there. As long as the panda's continually taking those shots, I mean, you're gonna have a tower down if you have minions there. And it's kind of hard for an enemy team to kind of offset that, because on one hand you've got this panda that's taking all the damage, then you've got the other team members coming in, and you have to understand where the priority lies in the damage that you're dishing out to try to even save that tower.
Yeah, and Le on the cheat show was actually trying to save the tower for both tower dives, but not successful, and put himself at the position of dying to a team like N19, right? And we'll see with this draft coming in for the second game of this series what they have in store for us.
Yeah, it's gonna be very interesting. Lug, yeah, you're absolutely right, Lug. Kind of stood her ground there. You would have had, I mean, at most points when I see Naguda coming up, I'm like, all right, let me dive back like 2 towers because this tower's about to get swarmed. Lug's just like, all right, you know what? I'm here. Let's go ahead and open up. Try to take some out. But like I said, there's just not much that you're going to be able to do with especially with most of the damage underneath the tower being tanked off. As we go ahead, taking into this second draft, looks like Maisha and Nui going to be taken off the board for Midnight Thieves, and Dharma taken off for N19.
I mean, Dharma doing, we haven't been able to see Dharma really getting played much because he's always on that ban list, right? Doing, providing a lot of dive and crowd control with that hero. But it does look like Zhang Fei will return to the side of N19. A great support, like you mentioned, if you're able to kind of maximize his ultimate.
Ooh, very interesting here. We might be looking at a Lady Shen pickup. For the side of Midnight Thieves. It's a little early for our mage pickups. I do like that they're kind of, yeah, I was about to say, if I'm going to be going for a mage pickup with what we have on the board, Yixing would probably be my bet just because of the combination that you get with the Zhongfei. I would like to take that off the board because of how powerful it can be. And now we've got a little something that we can cook with here, especially with the Lian Po and the Yixing. You got a great combination that you can offset there if you can kind of bring it together. Here, going with what I recommended before when it comes to those tanks, they're going to pick both. They're going to go ahead and pick up the Ogren and the Young Jian.
Yeah, it's interesting to see the Young Jian actually played out in the Clash lane, I believe, with a very tanky lineup for the side of N19. I would have even suggested the Lady Zhen looking at this lineup right now. A lot of frontline. Lady Zhen would have been a great pick, but Yixing also provides a lot of utility and not needing a lot of farm, right? Leaving open potentially more of an assassin coming in from the side of from Midnight Thieves.
Yeah, and that's a great read there. The problem is for N19, I feel like it was a bait. You take out the Zhongfei, so now you have the fear of the Yixing. You need to take that off the board. You can't ban it out, so you have to pick it up. Doing that, you now guaranteed that Lady Shen. Well, you've already got your Lian Po out there, so there is no room for any of those mages that really shine with that huge AoE. So now you're gonna go with these big tanky front lineup. The only thing is though, Yang Jian, he doesn't exactly shine in the Clash lane. I feel like he does very well when he can farm very fast. That's why you see him a lot in the jungling position. He needs a lot of those items, a lot of the health recap that you can get with his ultimate, so that you're just getting so much health back during these engagements. Here, moving on to the second phase of our banning, Lung and Arlie taken off the board by Midnight Thieves.
A really good two very strong late game heroes taken off the map for the side of N19, right? With the tankiness that they have, they really need a late game damage dealer on the side of N19. And with those two taken off the map, I would even expect potentially a Milady for the marksman. That's an interesting pick, but I expected even to have a late game marksman like the Flowborn marksman, but it does seem like Dr. Bien will be taken out for N19 on the farm lane. It's kind of a comp that we've seen sometimes in ranked games where they have so much sustain and heal. So definitely the Venom will be the first item for the side of Midnight Thieves.
So with what we see here right now, we've got the setup potential from Yixing, you've got the CC and tanking coming from Lian Po, you've got some damage coming out from Direnge, more tanking coming out from Byron, and unless this is going to be a damage Menki, I kind of feel like we're lacking in the punch damage department here from the side of Midnight Thieves here. A good, well-rounded composition coming out from N19 here when it comes, especially these two heavy hitters, when it comes to Dr. Bian and Ganon Mo on the side for that magic damage.
Definitely with something like a Dr. Bien on the marksman lane, I do think Direnge can lane well against the Dr. Bien, but towards the late game, right, we have the late game carry Ganon Mo. If Ganon Mo gets this item, with his team being so tanky and so much frontline, he actually has that space to kind of pop off towards the late game, and that puts a Midnight Thief in not so great of a position when they have something like the Menki and not being able to close that gap and actually get to the back line, get to the Ganon Mo, right? So we have to see how these teams execute their draft. But I am in favor of N19's draft.
Yeah, for me right now, N19, when it comes to a clash, I feel like it definitely favors them. The Menki pick kind of threw me off a bit because now you're going to try to actually have something that clashes there, when I feel like to be, when it comes to this kind of strategy, what you're seeing, all this tankiness from there, you're going to want to kind of, you want something that is mobile, something that can back up and continually put on the damage on them while they're chasing you, or opposite, while you're chasing them. Here, the longer you stand in the middle there, I feel like the worse it's going to be for you.
Yeah, they're really lacking the burst potential to take down the tanky front lines as well as the back line. So we have to see how the teams execute as we walk into the second game of this series.
Yeah, 3 members here for N19. Already see that that vision coming out from NAKA, doing a great job letting his team know where Midnight Thieves are, which jungle minion that they've started on, and they're going to use that information to go to the opposite jungle and try to pick that off. And this is what I was talking about with an Algren, the value you get from him, how quickly and how fast he can kind of move through the jungle and pick up that buff.
Ooh, looking like a chase is happening, but so much throwback with just one skill and already an early invade coming from N19.
Yeah, and even if you didn't have Pigwin there on the Ganon mode to kind of create that distance, you still had the abilities from a NAKA that could clear him and get him out to safety. So just a great composition here for the early game for N19.
Yeah, they're looking really comfortable in the early game. Even a gold for both sides, actually. And I'm really excited to see how the DRNGM matches up against the Dr. Bien. We don't really see Dr. Bien that much in the farm lane, I would say, but he is very scary towards late game, especially when you have so much sustain on your team.
Ooh, 3 members against 3 members coming in. A lot of CC looking for that Conductor of Souls. Oh, look at how much damage is coming out. And that is 3 down for the side of Midnight Thieves. What an engagement from N19.
And double kill going into the hands of Ganamo, and a late game mid already securing 2 kills and getting the item that you need. It's not what Midnight Thief is hoping for, right? To have the Ganamo kind of pop off in the early game, it's a scary thing to wish for.
And this is what I was talking about. The engagement, you don't want that in the middle of your lane. The CC, the slow that can come out from forward and B tier mid. Oh, now we're engaging again in here with the back end, the suppressive fire coming out from Pigwin on this Ganonmo, slicing down the members of Midnight Thieves. Another engagement comes out. Unbridled outburst stuns 2 members. Flash is out from the back and trying to take the damage. SCV sacrifices himself and gets taken out 4-0 for N19.
Oh, the early game invades is really pulling through, right? With a Menki, he's not having a great game. Both games getting his jungle invaded, and now what he can do is only take farm from his teammates who desperately need it to actually do something towards late game.
Yeah, and that's kind of that's an interesting point too. Is like that. All you can do to try to kind of catch back is you're gonna try to funnel Menki, but that's gonna be taking away damage from other people here. And at this point, at 4-0 and 3 minutes and 30 seconds, we're already pressing onto that mid tower.
And look at the gold for Menki, right? Only 1.8k gold, lower than pretty much everyone on the side of the 19 except for the Jiangfei. So he is not having fun in this game at all.
Yeah, they're trying to bully the top, but they keep on getting like rotated around. You see here the flank, a great show there coming out from N19. Forward doing a good job trying to bait them into that. Big pop-ups come out there. CC coming out from Artron, but look at the damage coming out from Pigwin. Able to chunk them down. He doesn't even need to CC. Look at how well he's doing with the aiming on those blades. Chunking down the rest of Midnight Thieves, and down to 20% are 3 of their members. 5-0 right now at almost the 5-minute mark.
And another kill going into the Ganonmo, right? Looking at the gold, it looks like on the side of N19, they're just snowballing from the early game up until now. And 3-0 for Ganonmo is not what you wish for at the 4-minute mark. And it looks like the side of N19, they're actually timing the buffs for Menti a lot better than he's actually doing himself.
yeah, no, that's I don't want to say embarrassing, but it's discouraging once the enemy has your stuff on timer. They know exactly when it's going to come out. Menki's going to have to use his ultimate to try to find himself and escape the rest of his team looking for that runaway. And I mean, right from the get-go, Pigwin did such a great job. Usually you're kind of waiting for Ganonmo to kind of to get some of those items to really come online. Here, look at how much he's chunking. And that's another
God.
death for SCV.
Rampage for Ganamo. I mean, I don't know how he's positioning himself, but then every skill that he shoots out as a Ganamo, he knows the distance exactly how to kind of get to the enemy, and that just shows the experience and the skill coming in from the side of a 19.
Right now, they're treating tanks like they have mage HP pools. The Ganamo is absolutely shredding them down. 7-0 right now at the high ground towers, almost at the 6-minute mark. SCV's taken down again. Big Conductor of Souls there. We did put a board down on the ground, but not much we can do as Midnight Thieves retreat back into their core.
Yeah, when I see someone playing Ganamo at this caliber, I really have to give my props to them. I mean, it's not the easiest hero to position, actually. His skills are so long range that you kind of need to place them exactly where it hits the enemy in order for you to do a damage and in order for you to be useful. And then Ganamo, this game showing us that he knows exactly where to be.
Yeah, and more than that too, you really have kind of turned off the hope of being able to have a front line by Midnight Thieves here. Even if you try to engage in the middle, once you're at this point now where you have the Ganamo kind of putting out ridiculous amounts of damage, you're going to have Kevin on this Dr. Beyond, who's going to be having absurd amounts of damage. If he doesn't already, it's going to be coming up here pretty soon with the itemization. But man, a very dominating game by M19 here. There's just not much that Midnight Thieves can do. Right from the back end, you see Fjord going in deep onto enemy. Unbridled Outburst catches one. That's a quick kill. Diving underneath the tower, looking for that continued kill using the Hounds. That's how it's done with the Yang Jian. Getting to the back lines quickly, and this might be another 8-minute game as they continue to put the work onto Midnight Thieves. Half percent 25, and that will be an 8-minute victory for N19.
I mean, they were going all on unstoppable throughout the entire game, and that is another less than 10-minute game going in favor of N19. They kind of had that interesting draft with the Dr. Bien into the marksman lane, but with the Ganamo played at that caliber, I don't know, Private, looking not too great for Midnight Thieves.
I mean, I kind of understood where the composition was going to go when you had these three tanky lineups to be able to kind of hold that mid lane. I just didn't expect it to pop off so quickly. Big win. I didn't know Ganamo could do it. He's got a venomous staff. He doesn't even have the damage. Oh yeah, well, he does have the tome up there, but like this is even before he had venomous staff that he was getting like 2-3 kills up in the top lane. He was unstoppable.
With the Yixing pick, right, you kind of expect him to do a lot more in towards the early game, but Ganamo actually popped off, and actually with the team synergy that they have, they were able to get the snowball early game and really be unstoppable by the mid game point of the game, leaving Midnight Thieves nowhere to actually come back from.
Yeah, and I mean, unfortunately, right from the get-go, you saw they did exactly what they needed to. You had Ayaka going into enemy jungle. Where are they? Okay, they started up on the Crimson buff. We're going to go ahead and immediately invade their Azul buff. And they went in there, and then they were even able to get out unscathed. Not just that, but then by the time they got all three buffs, they immediately ran to Clash Lane to start that fight immediately. 3 kills from there. 3 kills and a lost buff. You're not only ahead, but you've put the enemy so far behind that it was a game of catch up right from the 30 seconds.
And if you look at the Ganamo's actually team fight participation, he was there for 100% of the team fight. Up in the mid lane, up in the Clash lane, towards the bot lane, he was there every single time and did an immense amount of damage and had that presence on the map, right?
Yeah, and once you've already started, I mean, like we said, right from 30 seconds, Gan and Mo is shredding them. And once you start getting items on it, and you're continually being able to put that suppressive fire on them, there's not a Menki, a Lian Po, they're not going to be able to do much there. And God forbid it hits one of your squishier members. That's going to be a one-hitter quitter for them. Great job by N19 here, though. A very interesting draft, especially seeing the Dr. Beyond in the farm lane that you don't get to see too often.
Yeah, and with that game played, let's take a look at the standings right now. 2 complete sweeps for the first 2 series of the day. Flash Smileadon moving towards the phase 2 round robin, as well as N19. So they will be playing up against each other in the first game of the phase 2. And now it leaves us to one last series for phase 1. STMN versus Trozang.
Yeah, it's going to be a very exciting game here. You already have our 2 members moving into that round robin. We're still yet to see who out of Stamina and versus Trolls Inc. will be moving on there to those best of ones. To see who will be moving on to Sunday, and it's very exciting here. Flash Smileadon, is trying to kind of keep up that momentum, and 19 had a very good run last week as well, so maybe looking to kind of get a little bit of an upset here as well. They were just as dominant, if not more so, in their games as Flash Smileadon in these series.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And with the next series coming up, we actually seen both of these teams perform last week, right? Stamina Esports, they're the Open Series second place, and Open Series 4 second place, and Open Series 5 first place. So they have a lot of experience in the North America scene. And for Trolls Inc., they put on some trolls picked last week. We'll have to see how they play out this game. And we'll take a short break and come back for the last series of phase 1.
Grandpa, what happened in the monkey story?
Anoman. Yes, he made a promise to bring Cinta home.
Was he lucky?
He got caught, and flames rose. A huge fire. Yes, a man will always admire.
happened in the monkey story?
Anoman. Yes, he made a promise to bring Cinta home.
Was he lucky?
He got caught, and flames rose. A huge fire.
He is a legend.
Yes, a man will always admire.
Grandpa, what happened in the monkey story?
Anoman. Yes, he made a promise to bring Cinta home.
Was he lucky?
He got caught, and and flames rose. A huge fire.
He is a legend.
Yes, a man will always admire.
Grandpa, what happened in the monkey story?
Anoman. Yes, he made a promise to bring Cinta home.
Was he lucky?
He got caught, and flames rose. A huge fire.
a legend.
Yes, a man will always admire.
Grandpa, what happened in the monkey story?
Anoman. Yes, he made a promise to bring Cinta home.
Was he lucky?
He got caught, and flames rose. A huge fire.
He is a legend.
Yes, a man will always admire.
Grandpa, what happened in the monkey story?
Anoman. Yes, he made a promise to bring Cinta home.
Was he lucky?
He got caught, and flames rose. A huge fire.
He is a legend.
Yes, a man will always admire.
Grandpa, what happened in the monkey story?
Anoman. Yes, he made a promise to bring Cinta home.
Was he lucky?
He got caught, and huge fire.
He is a legend.
Yes, a man will always admire.
And we are back, everyone. A longer break than we expected, but we are ready to head on to the next series. It does seem like one of the teams for the Phase 1 will not be able to make it today. So that leaves us to STMN Esports moving on to Phase 2, Private.
Yeah, we're just going to go ahead and smooth on over to Phase 2, where we're going to go into our round robins. If you guys don't understand, or if you guys didn't realize, STMN Esports will be moving forward into Phase 2. You can take a look here at how the breakdown happens. We just got done with Phase 1. Best of threes for those. That decides the three members, the three teams that will move on to Phase 2 here and now that will compete in this best of one round robin. And then from there on, we now are going to decide who will be the best team, the challenger, moving on to Phase 3 of Sunday to take on our top two teams.
Absolutely. And with the Phase 2 round robin fierce showdown, only one team will make it into Phase 3 as the challenger of this week. Now, looking at the games that we have so far with the disqualification for today, Trolls Inc., STMN Esports will be moving forward to the Phase 2 alongside facing up against Flash Smileadon and N19 for best of one series, and only one of those teams will make it to Phase 3 tomorrow.
Yeah, very exciting here, especially because all three of these teams have a lot of history behind them, looking to make a statement here in these best of one. And that's a very interesting thing here too about this, a best of one to decide who will move forward. Sometimes when it comes to the best of threes, you can adjust fire back and forth, but here, man, it's one shot to move on.
Yeah, one shot against one team. They do play against each other. Everyone plays one game against each other, right? So I think that one game itself will be decisive enough to show us which team comes on stronger. Now, these teams, whoever makes it into Phase 3, will be looking at a pretty hefty prize pool as in the arena stage. We will have one winner for every week. So one champion will secure $1,000 and 10,000 tokens. Now, last week that was BYL, the champion of the open qualifiers, taking home that 1,000 and 10,000 tokens. And this week we'll have one fresh champion securing that win for a total of 3,000 USD and 30,000 tokens for the weekly champions. Now, for the playoffs, we have another 3,000 US dollars and 32,000 tokens, I believe. So a lot of prize money for the players.
Yeah, it's going to be really exciting there as well. The big prize pool here, we talked about it before, 6,000 total USD, biggest here in the community, bigger than most of the regionals that we get here as well. So a big opportunity for a lot of these teams, and we were just talking about it every week. For the next 2 weeks, well, for the 3 weeks total, but for the next 2 weeks, you have an opportunity to win that $1,000 until we get into the playoffs, where you have that opportunity to get first, second, or third with that prize pool money as well. It's going to be very exciting to see which teams, and if we get some adjustments when it comes to those top two or those teams that are sitting pretty on the Sundays as well.
Yeah, I mean, with last week, we've seen that the top spot is still secured by BYL, right? But it was anybody's game. It was actually very balanced on the Phase 3 matches. Now, this time, Flash Smileadon did get sent back to the arena stage, and they've shown us how strong and how dominant they are. And maybe with that practice this week, they could put potentially make it out of phase 2 as a challenger and face up against DJB Club and BYL, who are sitting pretty comfortably waiting for them in phase 3. So it could be anyone's game. And with that being said, the draft is ready for the first round robin of phase 2 today. Private Dancer, let's see what the teams are cooking for us.
Yeah, I'm really excited to see what we go with. One shot here against one of these teams, so you really have to understand them and see what you're going to be able to go up against. I know, pretty sure that's not going to be Midnight Thieves there, but it's going to be Flash Smileadon taking on Stamina Esports. So really excited to see where we go here. We saw how quickly Flash Smileadon were able to dispatch their first series opponents here. Will that play in? Is that going to be momentum bringing that into this clash against Stamina? Or will it prove that a well-rested team maybe be able to get the upper hand?
Yeah, I mean, it could go on both sides' favor, right? For Flash Smileadon, they did have 2 games worth of practice, 2 very dominating games. But is that enough to play up against some of the esports? We see some classic bans coming out from both sides. The Haya taking off the map, securing that lone first pick.
Yeah, and for me, I like this. We've taken off essentially a lot of the early game picks that were really dominating a lot of the series that we saw with the Maisha Nui, the Haya out there, as well as the Chicha pickup. We're still going on with this with the Yang Jian pick. We're really trying to make it work, and I'm desperate to see it work well, where it's going to be the jungler. Like I said, I feel like sometimes there can be better pickups, but there are some combinations that work very well with it here, as one of those combinations being the Dolia.
Yeah, the Dolia definitely will help Yang Jian get his ultimate back a lot quicker, and he's able to kind of max his health bar just like that, right? And whether or not they can execute it and actually synergize well with each other as teammates will be the decisive factor here. Looking on the map, I really like the Nuwa pick. Nuwa has proven itself to be one of the most successful mages in this tournament so far, and having that late game potential as well for the side of Semina, they're looking at a pretty strong and pretty solid lineup right now. But we do have the Luna and Jungfei coming out from the side of Flash Smileadon. They are banning out some marksmen right now. The Arlie is a great ban, kind of counters along a little bit with the second skill, kind of second skill for Arlie. So it's a great ban coming in from the side of Flash Smileadon.
Yeah, as we take a look at some of these pickups for the side of Flash Smileadon, I'm a little hesitant just because we don't have like a lock-on stun for Luna. We have the ability to hopefully catch her with maybe a push or with some of our abilities, but nothing that like a stun that isn't a skill shot here. And for somebody as mobile as a Luna, that's gonna be a problem as you move into the mid and late game. And on you, we haven't seen that in a little bit. I want to say it's been banned out a bit.
Yeah, but with the Guan Yu, it does offer a lot of frontline, right? For the side of Flash Smileadon, they have a pretty balanced comp. She is more taken as a support mage because the Luna and the Lone both needs a lot of farm to really be able to snowball and get to the power spike that they have. I do also like the side of Stamina they're picked. The DNG is a really balanced marksman and has a lot of push potential and a lot of defense. So I think it's a good lineup against the Lon, but if we do get to the late game part of it, Lon has so much mobility and so much skill potential, right? So we have to see how these teams actually play out the game.
For me, the Stamina, they've got a composition that really kind of is a front-back composition where you're going to have somebody on the front line tanking the damage, and you're really hoping that back line can really throw out the suppressive fire. The problem I'm seeing is that we have a composition coming out from Flash Smileadon that can attack you from all of these different angles. Guan Yu usually likes to get the flank, usually likes to get behind them. If you're a Nuwa and you've got a Guan Yu behind you, you've got a Luna in front of you, and the Zhang Fei with an unbridled outburst, where are you aiming these abilities at? And that's going to be something that we're going to have to see. Can we manage our team fights?
And let's find out how the team fight is going. As Prep Dancer, you danced us into this draft.
With that boogie oogie woogie as we go into the mid lane, 30 into the 39 seconds already. You see the quick rotation coming out from the side of Flash Smileadon.
Yeah, quick rotation indeed. A little bit better, I would say, in the previous 2 games than we saw, right? Not too much happening at the 1 minute mark. I mean, we're so used to seeing team fights after team fights start from the get-go, right? And this game is kind of a calming release that we're seeing both teams taking it back just a little bit and getting the early game farm and the rotation as per usual.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that we're not at 0-4 right now already means that this is a much slower game than our first 2 series that we casted here. Flash Smileadon, a little bit more of a back and forth here against Stamina Esports. Nobody really kind of stepping out or looking for some of those kills or anything that they can take advantage of. Very, very, I want to say decisive. They're trying to get their farm, their minions, and moving on, and not really trying to take any chances as either of these teams.
Yeah, for the side of Stamina Esports, they do have to consider timing maybe Luna's buff and not letting Luna get the farm that she needs. So we have to see if they're able to kind of execute that. I think for a young Gen, he's really tanky. Even though he hasn't popped up in the 2 series that we saw so far, that doesn't take away his sustain, right? His ability to kind of be a dominating force in the early game. Stamina might be playing a different game this time.
Yeah, the only problem is, Yang Jian, you kind of need those items to really be getting that tankiness that you want in the regen. It's not just the tankiness, it's the regen that really kind of comes on a line here. Got some great macro coming out from the side of Stamina, continually moving, continually helping with jungle ads and everything here. So a great job already here from this team who is kind of continually getting that pressure. My only problem here right now is that we are not pressing the advantage or anything. We're just allowing Flash Smileadon so far to kind of exist without any pressure. When you allow that, especially for somebody as skilled as Demon Cat on this Luna, you're going to have a problem as you start reaching into the mid game, and you're going to find yourself maybe not taking kills yet, but once you get into that mid and late game and those power spikes start happening, you're going to find this unstoppable force coming at you in the form of a Luna.
Yeah, and so far, very calm early game at the 3 minute mark. No death on each side and a pretty even gold for both sides, right? We did see Zhang Fei just camping that bush. She's finally level 4, and with that ultimate being open, Team Stamina have to look out for it.
Yeah, you're gonna have that. They're gonna look for it coming in. Does dive underneath of the tower. That's gonna be a first kill coming out. Luna finds that quickly. Demon Cat puts one on the board for Flash Smileadon. The entire teams do back up.
Yeah, with that, Younggen he has no escape, right? Like pairing it up against something like a Luna who has so much mobility, Younggen really, if you're not able to get your heal back, you're just a walking bigger minion, right? Almost in the early game, and we did see that being taken down early game, and now at the bot lane, the tower is already getting shredded.
The interesting thing here is that it's almost like the Aguda strategy, where you are forcing the enemy to kind of go to the safety of the tower, but that tower is going to be dove under, especially by a Guan Yu.
Yeah, the tower, I mean, with the Guan Yu, a little bit of a skirmish happening in the mid lane, not going to connect though.
Yeah, they're trying to piece out and try to weigh out the enemy, see if they can kind of get some shots on there. 4-on-1 right now, putting on some damage onto KT. A little bit of a backup there. Might be a little bit more than you chewed. Gets a bit off there by Flash Smileadon. 2 on the board for them. Stamina have not been able to answer back just yet. I want to say I'm not really expecting them to just yet. You need those items. You need to kind of come online. They're not completely out, or they're not completely like taken down just yet. A little bit of CC here onto the back line, and we were talking about this with the Luna, and down goes Yang Jian. A 3-0 for Flash Smileadon. Unable to reply back is Stamina.
And no response coming in from Stamina, right? And actually getting Long that kill that he needs, and the scalability that he has, right, at this point in the game. 5-minute mark, already 2K gold ahead, and so much more openness on the map for the side of Flash Smileadon.
Yeah, we're not really even out of the laning phase just yet. Just even from the back to front right now, Flash Smileadon right in the face of Stamina. Just there's not much Stamina is able to withstand it just yet. And we're not even at a point where we're seeing too much flanking or the Guan Yu coming from the back lane just yet, which kind of spells a little bit of a problem if Stamina is not able to really kind of read these engagements so early.
Yeah, and that Zhengfei's just chilling in the bush all the time. He's not even afraid of the enemy seeing him there, because there's not much that they can do right now at this point in the game yet. Looks like the side of Team Flash Smileadon, they're moving more as a team, right? They're rotating together, getting the objectives, getting the kills, and now Luna looks like he's trying to invade.
Yeah, and for me, the problem here, too, is kind of the vision for our team. Who do we have that can even check any of these bushes or go around without getting, like, the fear of an immense amount of CC coming in the form of a unbridled outburst, or the Razor Cavalry coming from Liu Li on that Guan Yu, who can not just stun them, but push them deeper into the back line of the enemy team, which is just not where you want to be when you're trying to check these bushes. And then, like I said, who is the one checking bushes? Is it just going to be Vex there? Because, I mean, he, like we said, needs those items, needs those skills, and his bar completely filled up so that he's going to be able to get large and be able to tank a bunch of that damage. Objective first, that's going to be the Overlord going over to Flash Smileadon. Engagement coming out here. Annihilation Laser just goes white. Demon Cat looking to get back to his teammates. No worse for wear.
You bring up a good point, Private, right? For the side of Stamina Esports, the only really front line that they have will be the Yang Jian, and he is also like a carry position, right? As the jungler, you're supposed to farm up, and you're supposed to do a lot of damage as well, but with your team being so squishy, there's not much that you can do but to check the bushes and walk into your demise.
Razor Cavalry from the back end. I was seeing that coming from Liu Li, hiding in that bush, just being patient. Immediately dives under tower while he sees Stamina getting low, pushing them with that Razor Cavalry. They only get one out of it, but I mean, man, this is just the value you get out of Guan Yu when it comes to that back line, when it comes to being able to dive underneath the tower.
Yeah, I mean, they found a successful dive, and now they're going to march further down into the opposition side of the map, into the jungle, farming freely. This Luna getting no pressure whatsoever throughout the game and having a great game for herself.
Yeah, and this is kind of what I was afraid of. There's no pressure on the Luna. There's no real way to stun the Luna, and you've got enemies coming at you from all these different directions. There's no way. Oh, we do have a coming in here, looking for a little bit of help here. Is that going to be enough coming in from Fade? And a nice auto attack coming out from the Luna. Demon Cat finds himself a kill right there alongside Liu Li, who's going to escort him back to safety. Again, unanswered by Stamina. 5-0 right now, a 4K gold lead for Flash Smileadon.
Yeah, I mean, for Team Stamina, they have to find these opportunities, right? They have to capitalize on the mistake of Flash Smileadon, but right now they're just not showing that opening.
Yeah, and we're taking a look at some of the items. We do have the anti-heal already picked up by the side. Muaji, who was able to kind of already get that venomous staff right now, so they're going to be able to get that bit of anti-heal on. It's going to kind of back up what the Dolia is trying to do there. And we really haven't been able to kind of really take off on this. What I was saying, you need a lot of items for the Yangjian to really be tanky. As soon as he goes in, he's getting bursted down. We're not able to get the sustain that we need or that we wanted. Hitting the 10-minute mark as we kind of push our way through the tier 2 towers of stamina.
Yeah, like you said, for Yangjian to pop up, you need to maximize the on-hit items, but looks like Luna getting caught here.
Yeah, actually, putting one on the board. Almost amazing. Oh, underneath the tower. Big Razor Cavalry underneath the tower and still able to get away. They're looking for it, hungry, but not able to chase down Liu Li.
Yeah, I mean, that is the mistake we're talking about, right? Luna getting too confident and diving too deep into the enemy base. That is one kill secured for the team of and for the Stamina Esports, and they're looking to secure more of these kills and capturing Flash Smileadon, who might be a little bit too aggressive at this point.
Yeah, and right now they're going to make quick work of this. I believe that was the Tyrant that went down. They're going to have themselves a little bit of damage that they need. They do lose a member very quickly after that. For me, when it comes to Vex, it's that Dragon's Rage that you're trying to get with Vex, and that's where the Yangjian has kind of shined. I feel the problem, though, is that the priority for that item is kind of third, second at quickest that you're going to be getting it, and that's just not where you want to be, especially when you're behind in the early game. 7-1 right now. Another Overlord picked up for the side of Flash Smileadon, extending their gold lead to about 5K.
Yeah, about 5K, not too big. I mean, they have been at 5K throughout the game so far. For the side of Stamina Esports, they did get one Tyrant, but at this point of the game, 11-minute mark, the Overlord goes to Stamina to the side of Flash Smileadon, and that is going to bring a lot of pressure onto the towers.
And you can even see Demon Cat here diving underneath the tower. Dash is still able to get away there. There's just nowhere safe for any of the team members for Stamina right now. Oh, they're going to go in. Big Razor Cavalry comes out there, dropping down the team members to have health. Demon Cat picks up a kill onto Lee. Vex is next on the docket, gets taken out, and now we have Overlord minions at the base onto these high grounds, beginning to pick away.
And now is when the goalie really matters, right? At the 12-minute mark, the long farming so well, and the damage that he sheds onto the tower, bringing us to a decisive victory in favor of Flash Smileadon.
Flash Smileadon continuing the dominance that they exerted. Maybe not as bad as like we saw from the first series, but man, there was barely an answer. They continued very quickly able to get the upper hand and just never let their foot off the gas, continually putting that pressure, getting those kills, getting the objectives that they needed. And unfortunately for Stamina Esports, they just were never able to catch up.
Yeah, when you have something like the Luna on the side of Flash Smileadon, as Stamina Esports, you really have to be that pressure into her jungle and not letting her get the free farm that she's been having. And with that is how you kind of come back from it, right? But we didn't see that with the previous game. And now at 1-0, Flash Smileadon will be taking on another team and see whether or not they can continue and be that challenger this week.
Well, I mean, a great game, a great composition coming out from Flash Smileadon as well. You had you had the Zhongfei that comes from the front, you had the Guan Yu that comes from the rear, and then you had a Luna that just it comes from anywhere, anywhere on the map, and it really offsets what you were trying to do from Stamina Esports, especially when you have a Nua on your team who just really cannot handle the many directions that this team was able to come from. Usually, when you see a composition like that, you want to have a Lady Shen, Princess Frost, something that can like just really be that anti-engagement for your team. Unfortunately, we just didn't have that, and Flash Smileadon really took advantage.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you need something to suppress the Luna, right, and actually get to her, but we didn't see that coming in from the side of Stamina Esports. They might have to kind of adjust and really think about their strategy moving forward up against N9 team in the next round robin, right? But with that game, so far, Private, every single game we've seen today, the gold lead has been in one team's favor, and it just continues. The gold difference kind of shrank towards that late game with that one team fight that Stamina Esports had came on top, but other than that, the gold and the advantage has never been on their favor.
Yeah, right now what we've seen is we've seen teams who just they lose the momentum and are just never able to get it back. And I feel like that kind of goes hand in hand with not having the strongest early game that you need to be able to kind of at the very least get farmed up. What we have from Flash Smileadon, what we've had from our other series after that is just the teams that just dominate from the get-go, and then they pick apart their opponents, invading jungle, taking away. And here's the thing too, it's one thing to get a kill onto your opponent and put yourself ahead, but once you start invading their jungle, you're basically stalling them out to where they're not even able to climb with you anymore, and it begins to create that huge gold gap that we've been seeing here, and these teams are unfortunately just not able to ever come back from that, or at least from what we've seen from the compositions thus far.
Yeah, with that game so far, first game of the phase 2 today. Let's take a look at the standing very quickly. Flash Smileadon versus N19 will be up next potentially, or N19 versus Stamina, but so far these three teams will be fighting for one spot moving into phase 3 tomorrow.
Yeah, it's gonna be very exciting here to see who's able to move on first. I mean, right now we could possibly we've seen the domination of Flash Smileadon and N19 so far. Unfortunately, Stamina kind of got laid across the railroad there, and just were not able to find the pace that they needed. Here we got another best of one. It could go anybody's way, and it just we're gonna see how it passes out, and who will be that challenger moving on to Sunday.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, with that game played, it does put Stamina Esports at a disadvantage, but this series could go 1-1-1. I mean, every team could win one game, and we'll see what happens with that. But not to discourage Stamina Esports. They still have potential. They still have a matchup against N19, and they gotta regroup for that, right? But for the other two teams, Flash Smileadon, their performance was expected. I mean, they were the top two teams coming in from the open qualifiers. They had that international stage experience, so it's almost expected that they are able to come on top with these games. But whether or not they can continue that aggression up against a team like N19, we'll have to see.
Yeah, I mean, I want to say a lot of these teams, especially all the way up here, Stamina has experience when it comes to a live stage and high stress situations like this. So it just, like I said, maybe it kind of sometimes comes down to that best of one, or even just needing time to kind of adjust your play style. You gotta, sometimes you need that first game to read out the enemy, to see where they're going, what they like, or how their play style is, and then you're able to adjust. Unfortunately, like we said, the best of one just doesn't give you that opportunity. You're gonna have to put it all on the line right from the beginning if you want a chance of moving on.
And that's why the round robin is so exciting to watch, right? You have to really understand that this is a one game chance. You need to be able to play well in the early game, play well in the mid game, understand your win conditions, and actually carry the game. If you're a late game comp, you need to be able to actually move past that 10-minute mark and close down that gold gap and get to your win condition. So far, we haven't seen the losing teams been able to do that yet. But I think with the upcoming matches, we actually are able to see more of a late game potential. With N19, we've seen they actually put on a pretty good fight up against DJB Club last week. So how they play up against Flash Smileadon will be a very exciting game for us to watch.
Yeah, the interesting thing for me is when it comes to some of these teams, it feels like the early game has been, there needs to be a plan for the early game. We can't just leave that as a gray box and then settle on, all right, hitting our power spike at mid and late game. There needs to be some type of action or logic into that early game. How do we withstand their strength? How do we push our early game to put so much pressure on them that they're not going to be able to kind of recoup through mid and late games? So far, what I've seen is just I feel like the mistake has been that we just allow them to continually farm, to push past the early game, and then we're kind of really hoping that the mid and late game we can get to those power spikes with enough time to really be able to turn things around. We're not setting the path that we need to be able to kind of secure that. The Luna game, we were talking about it before. If you just passively let the Luna farm, you're gonna have issues. There needs to be something that is stopping these people, or at the very least trying to be that nuisance to them.
Yeah, I mean, when you're facing incredible odds, sometimes you need to find sneaky ways to get back into the game. And let's find out what the teams have as a sneaky backdoor with this draft for the second game of Phase 2.
Sneaky backdoor indeed. Let's see, we got a Lung taken off the board. Dharma just is not going to see the light of day today. I think that was Chicha's place last week when Chicha just was in the ban and nobody wanted to pick it up, which is interesting too. I love what Dharma provides for teams when it comes to CC, getting to the back line and that setting potential. Speaking of Chicha, taken off the board by N19. Both of these teams, might I add, had very dominating open series today, barely going over the 10-minute mark for both of their games. So I'm very excited to see what happens when these two clash.
Yeah, very standard ban so far. We've barely seen Dharma make it this time. I mean, Haya's taken off the board once again. I like this Zhangfei pick. He has had a great win rate whichever team takes him on the map, right? He's one of the strongest tanky supports that we have. And then when you have a tank support, you actually have so much potential, right? So many options for your jungler and mid, and so much protection. So I really like this Zhangfei pick on the side of N19.
Yeah, I mean, what don't you get with a Zhangfei pickup? You've got the sustain that you get because he gives your teammates a shield. He's so tanky, especially in the early game. He's able to jump over walls. You've got the mobility, and then of course you've got the unbridled outburst that can be either a setting potential or it could potentially upset a group gank by the enemy team. There's so much usefulness, and that's why he has become one of the staple picks when it comes into that roam position. You see him either picked up or banned, and you saw the immediate pickup by Ayaka here on the N19. But on the other side as well, Lapu has been climbing his way up to that same type of fame as a roam. Flash Smileadon are going to couple him up with an Arlie.
Yeah, I mean, both sides having a pretty balanced draft so far. Lapu is good against the Zhangfei, right? He is one of the potential counter picks for Zhangfei, so they're able to actually to put that pressure onto the farm lane. With the Arlie, I like the Arlie pickup. With a good, if Arlie is in good hands, she's still one of the strongest Martin, right? She's have so much utility and so much mobility towards the late game. We do see the Jing being picked up. I mean, Jing is one of your favorite heroes to see so far in this tournament, right, Private?
Well, I mean, you've got the mobility, you've got the able to get into behind enemy lines, and then with that mirror domain, you just unload a ton of damage onto them. Big thing here for me is Flowborn Marksman. When we've seen him on the board, he's been quite the bully, especially in the early game. The range that he can kind of come down on. You team that up with a Zhangfei, it's going to be a problem, especially for Arlie, for Forest. If he doesn't have the support of the Lapu. It's going to be very interesting to see how this, I want to say this early game gold farm lane unfolds for us. As Flash Smileadon have been so dominant so far, I'm very much looking forward to seeing how we kind of answer this back here. And then, like you were talking about, as we've talked about before, assassins. You've got Jing out there. What are we going to do to kind of engage on that, or are we going to try to stop that or put it down?
Yeah, with the side of and 19, they actually potentially have a response with that Donghong if they're actually going to secure that. But like you mentioned, the Flowborn Marksman is one of the best marksmen right now in this meta. With the items that he can build, with just 3 items, he'll be popping off on the map, right? And late game, he has so much damage. As long as he can cast his skill on one of the enemies, he is able to continue that aggression onto the side of Flash Smileadon. So I like both teams' draft so far. With a Nuwa and a Flowborn Marksman, they do need more of a utility jungle, not someone that's really farm dependent, and something that they need to have in their pocket to kind of get to that Jing, right? With the Odd One Pit, I think they're tanky enough for Jing to not just burst down the Nuwa, but we don't have a suppression hero on the side of the 19.
Yeah, and that's kind of the thing too, is you've got this good front line, but you don't have anything that's stopping the Jing from getting back there. That's because that's just how mobile that character is here. Here right now, I'm very interested to see how they kind of come back at each other. Ogren has been one of the, thankfully, not the young Jian pickup. Like I said, I've been kind of spitting the praise of Ogren and his early game. We've seen examples of that as well, where you're able to kind of get in there with your roam, you find out where the enemy is, you get your Ogren, and you go to the opposite side to immediately start invading. And there's not much that the enemy team can do. Can we see that that same type of strategy here against Flash Smileadon?
Yeah, but with Flash Smileadon, they do have the early game potential as well, right? With the Mai Shiranui and the Byron, some very dominating heroes in the early game, and how these two teams clash up against each other will be very exciting to watch as we enter into the second round robin of today, Private.
Yeah, it's going to be the unstoppable force taking on the immovable wall here, as both of these teams had super quick, super dominating first series here earlier today, where the games went about 10 minutes and it was basically a one-sided strategy fest for both of them. You can already see a great and quick clear up from the mid lane. Oh, and already going to go ahead and invade, trying to put some damage onto that Azure Golem. And 19, they see it and they read it out very quickly, but are they going to be able to stop it? You can see there, taken down, and that's going to be an easy pickup for Flash Smileadon. Leolie actually, taken down to about half health. They really are trying to put on the damage, but unfortunately, just not enough to make them pay for that.
That's the early game aggression we're talking about, right? With the pick like the Byron, Jane actually got 2 buffs. So looking ahead with a Jing like that, you want to be the team that is putting aggression into the farm lane. You don't want to have it put on you with something like an odd one, right? Already farming a little bit behind and not being able to rotate as quickly as the Jing.
Yeah, and early gamers really want to be able to take off as well. That's where he shines, and especially because not a lot of people have gotten a lot of that anti-heal. You're going to be able to kind of group up on it. The more people that you're able to group up on, the better it is for an Ogren, because all of those people he's going to be able to get health back from as well. Here, RT dives in a little bit, just kind of a little bit of a hello and handshake between two members. Ooh, diving in pretty deep is this Arlie. Not able to find the kill just yet, but 3 members of Flash Smileadon. You can see over there, Maji lying in wait, goes underneath the tower, finds the push. A great flash coming out from Kevin, reads that, and able to get onto the other side of the tower instead of getting pushed.
Yeah, I mean, that Arlie is showing us that she got the skill, she got that experience, she knows exactly how deep she can get and how to escape from that, and she's not afraid to show it up in the early game without even having that much items. And that's the scary thing about having a good Arlie player on the enemy team.
Yeah, and right here, a great play even there by when it comes to the marksman. Kevin did a great job of finding the reaction skill to get popped up by a Mai Shiranu and still have the I guess the headspace to be able to flash away and get to a good side where he wasn't in danger. And no kills on the board just yet from two teams that were basically slaughtering their opponents in the earlier series. It seems both of them have met their match, and a bit of respect here when it comes to some of these rotations and really not wanting to be the first one that is going to make a mistake.
I mean, already we're seeing more of an even game despite the early game invade. The gold is looking pretty even on both sides, and still right now, no kills on the map for either team.
Ooh, you do see coming in with that teleport. Oh, from the backside, Penguin almost gets caught by MyShiranu. Mwaji doing a great job on the rotating there.
Ooh.
Looking for an advantage there. Forrest actually in a little bit of trouble here. NAKA using that unbridled outburst. It is already down on cooldown, which means they're not going to be able to have it for this objective. KT gets annihilated by Penguin. That's going to be a roam down for Flash Smileadon.
I mean, they killed the support, and on right now they do have a little bit of a gold advantage for the side of N19, just 100 or 200 gold ahead. But already we're seeing some pushback against a team like Flash Smileadon.
Yeah, I mean, they lost their roam, but they were able to pick up the Tyrant. Ooh, actually going to be able to probably take down this tier 1 tower. They try for it. Ooh, from the back end. Forrest comes in. Ooh, but it's taken apart. MyShiranu coming in from the side. Mwaji, they're trying to protect the marksman, and a great job. Kevin does not lose his wits about. Ooh, almost got caught up there. Big pop-up lands, but is not going to be enough to take on Kevin, who seems to have his rabbit's foot on him. So lucky, gets away with like 5% health.
I mean, this game we really see that Flash Smileadon is playing very aggressive. Indeed, they're continuing their aggression, their confidence. They got what they wanted their early game. They got the invade, but they're sending the team N19 one kill after another and just opening up that gold gap.
Yeah, I mean, you've got the kills on the side of M19, but the objectives have been going over to Flash Smileadon. Ooh, B tier mid read that incoming, I want to say, gank coming from Mwaji, backed up away from the tower. They are going to be able to pick up these objectives, though, and this is what we were talking about. Kills don't mean much if you're not able to transition those into proper objectives. So far, towers and the Tyrant have been going on the side of Flash Smileadon.
I mean, you are correct, but sometimes you don't want to send enemies free kills, right? And it looks like what they're doing is just that, but a very successful team fight.
Yeah, successful team fight signs of 3 members of N19 taken down by Flash Smileadon. A great mirror domain coming out from Demon Cat. Found all members of N19 scrambling for the protection of their tower. They weren't able to get there fast enough. Damage was done, and this is going to be more momentum that Flash Smileadon needs, starting to edge their way ahead in the gold.
Edge their way ahead indeed with that goal. Just one team fight is able to turn the game around and into their favor, and now we're moving close to the 7-minute mark, looking at 1k gold ahead for Flash Smileadon.
Yeah, and right now you can see them starting to edge their way with these objectives here, trying to do the best that they can. Is B tier mid trying to protect these towers, trying to at least be a little bit of a harassment. Oh, gets caught up against 3 members. Might not be the fight that he wanted. Unbridled outburst from the side, able to secure an escape for N19. A great job by them not to take any more deaths there, especially because B tier mid kind of walked into a little bit of a trap there, but his team was right there to go ahead and secure that escape.
Yeah, I mean, they were able to escape, but looking at the map, the side of Flash Smileadon definitely have a bit of an advantage, I would say, towards the late game, just because of that early and as well as the Jane, and who's been having a great game so far.
You know, you can see the range damage coming out there from Kevin, who's doing all right. Kevin has not had a bad game so far. He hasn't been getting caught. He's been trying to keep up with that range, but right now, when it comes to aggressiveness or the objectives on the board, more towers down for the side of Flash Smileadon. Mwaji actually putting on some damage on there. 2 members of N19 coming in to stop this push. Still nothing at mid. Mid is what it really counts as, where it really opens up the jungle for you. They're trying to protect these towers now. Big engagement comes out. Mirror Domain coming out from Demon Cat. Is he able to put on the damage? Big push comes out from Penguin, but down goes Ferd on this Ogren. A 3-man crowd control coming out from Mwaji. Great pop up there to help secure that next kill. Flash Smileadon. Ooh, actually might be in a little bit of trouble here, getting pushed out there. Kill comes out, latching out. Penguin finds the kill onto Forest, and now the rest of Flash Smileadon may be on their back foot. Leo Lee looking for a dash to try to get away. A big secure for Demon Cat on that last objective. Tyrant's gonna give them a big damage boost that they need. Pop-up lands underneath the tower. You can see a great job from B tier mid. Goes in, snipes, finds the kill, and able to dash himself back out to safety, even under the 4K deficit that they are suffering.
I mean, B tier mid did not need an invitation for his continuous aggression, right? He understands that he can just go deep dive into the enemy tower and still walk away, not getting any damage done. So great response coming in from N19 so far.
5-4 kills just in favor of N19. But when you look at the openness of this map right now, Flash Smileadon sitting in a very good position. They're able to get into enemy territory. They're able to harass, steal buffs if they want to. And unfortunately for N19, they're just only 1 tower down. It's really starting to limit the opportunities that you have and the places that you can go.
And immediately you see Jane just locking down onto that tower and quickly bursting it down, shredding it, and securing that Tyrant after the 10-minute mark. And now they're rotating towards the Overlord. It does seem like so far all of the objectives have been going into favor of Flash Smileadon, but Nuwa.
Yeah, Nua, Deadeye, you see that Annihilation laser comes out, makes mincemeat of Mwaji. Now we have a fight here. Mirror Domain is out, back and forth is Demon Cat looking for the kill. 3 down, 4 to side. N19 looking to chase them down underneath the tower is Leo Lee. Finally able to get the safety from the side here. Looking for an opportunity and an angle. Forrest just was not able to find it. But this gives Flash Smileadon the opportunities that they need to pick up 2 more towers from N19.
Yeah, you mentioned, right, this whole game, the map has been at the advantage of Flash Smileadon. It's so open right now. They're already into the enemy's base. And despite having a pretty even kill, Flash Smileadon is just coming on top. And when you see an early with a triple kill, you know you gotta be prepared.
Yeah, and it's just super unfortunate for N19 just not able to kind of puncture into the macro that they need to get the advantage that they want. The stats might look kind of similar. It's about, I want to say 5K gold lead for Flash Smileadon. So the gold is there. The goal is kind of telling this story as far as how strong Flash Smileadon are. They're going to be able to go ahead and pick up this Overlord, which is going to give them a lot of leeway on these side lanes, and we might be looking at a last push as these dragons make their way down the lanes.
Yeah, they really gotta be careful for N19. They need to not be able to mess up and go too much out and about, and if they die here, this might be the last push that they need to secure the victory for Flash Smileadon.
Yeah, you can see them going ahead, diving in here. They have the kills on the mine. I like the focus coming out from Flash Smileadon. Focus on the members, not the core just yet. From the back end, the big pop-ups coming out. Unbridled Outburst is out as well. We had Annihilation Laser. Mirror Domain is down. Big pop-up lands on the 3 members. Able to find a kill. Now have Flash Smileadon on the back foot, having to run away. Rest of the team looking to try to close this out if they can get the advantage. You see they're taken very low and taken down. B tier mid on the back foot gets annihilated. 3 down for Flash Smileadon, 1 down for N19, and it looks like the base has been secured.
I mean, it looks like that is one team fight that N19 needed to come back and get the foot back into the game, right? Closing the gold gap down to about 4,000 at 13-minute mark is not too bad. It's looking pretty good for N19. They got another tower, another advantage into their pocket, and slowly but surely closing down the gap.
Yeah, you can see here how the kind of the change has been shifting back and forth here. They haven't captured the gold lead just yet, has N19, but you get another fight like that, and you will be well on your way to having a lead. The problem came from Flash Smileadon. I think wasn't expecting how deep into the back line N19 was able to get at their base, and it immediately took down Mwaji, and the rest of the team ended up having to back up as well. Unbridled Outburst goes out, does not really catch too many members here. We're still looking for an angle. We've wasted our big, I want to say, support item here, and now we have minions crashing at your base. You need to find a stop to this fight. Either you're gonna finish it, or you're gonna be able to get this objective. You need to be able to kind of make that decision, and the entire team to kind of go with it. As you start seeing one down for the side of Flash Smileadon, able to answer back onto N19. That's a big person, a big takedown for your team from the flank. Looking for an end here. Has the mirror domain. Look at the damage coming out from Kevin. Locking onto Demon Cat. That's going to be 2 down for Flash Smileadon, but on the back foot, they are able to secure the Tyrant. A great job by Forrest with his objective focus.
Oh, probably don't understand the anxiety coming into my head as I see the minions just popping down into their base and no response from the team side of N19. But it looks like they're not afraid, right? There's not that much that the minions can do yet, but still, just looking at how open the base is, I'm getting chills down my spine.
Yeah, and it's a very interesting. Is it a very stupid game, or is it a very a strategic game being played by N19, where they understand the waves are going to be countered by their own waves coming in? They don't need to be worried just yet. It's times like these that can make it so hard for a team, and that's when understanding the macro, the meta, and understanding how these pushes work is so important. They understood the time limit they needed. They understood when it wasn't an emergency to go back to base, and they were going to be able to continue the fight. I feel like Flash Smileadon were really betting on them turning around and not having to face the entire team, and they have been turned around right now. A great job by N19 looking to put away Flash Smileadon here. A great advantage. You can see the gold lead down to 2K only.
And Jane was just camping down into the jungle and trying to, I guess, capture the backline by surprise, right? That's exactly what Jane needs to do, is to get that Flowborn Marksman off the map if she can, because at this point in the game, with the items that he has, he is by far one of the strongest marksmen towards the late game. That's so much damage in his pocket, and all you can do with your mid kind of falling off towards this point of the game, you have to be able to capture the backline and take that damage dealer off the map.
Yeah, a really interesting thing here too is that Nua has been able to out-farm Mwaji on the Mai Shiranui. So we're coming to these power spikes where Flash Smileadon actually have to be very careful about some of these engagements. You can't just run into them anymore. You're going to have Penguin on this Nua doing an absurd amount of damage, able to offset a lot of the charging that your team and the backline diving that your team wants to do. Not just that, but now Mwaji, you're falling off every single time you dive into the team of N19. You're becoming a liability. You could get stunned, you could get damage onto you, you might not find your way back out. A lot of these, what we've been seeing is Mwaji has been like the first one that gets tackled and taken off, and that's a huge amount of damage taken off the board for Flash Smileadon. Right now, both teams kind of vying for position. You can see the jungle no longer safe for Flash Smileadon. They have to back up every single time N19 come a call in here, and now we're just waiting for the first person to make that mistake.
Like you mentioned, that's what happens when you have a Mai Shiranui, right? We saw the amount of pressure she provided towards the early game and letting Flash Smileadon have a great early game to begin with. But at this point in the game, when you have Nuwa sitting there with her stats with items, she is a menace on the map, and you have to be really careful playing up against that when you have something so strong towards the late game, and especially when you have paired with a late game carry like the Flowborn Marksman.
Yeah, and we are now under 1K, but the macro focus of Flash Smileadon immediately lock on. The entire team burst them down. I don't even think that thing was up for like 4 seconds, and they immediately take it down. That's going to be what really has been the difference in this game, is the focus of Flash Smileadon when it comes to these objectives, when it comes to the towers, the tyrants, or the overlord. They are just on it. When those kills, making sure that those kills don't matter. Taking a look at the gold, things have swung all the way back to center.
Yeah, right now, all Flash Smileadon needs to do is kind of be careful at this point. They can't dive too deep into the base. That is where N19 can actually defend, right? Sitting comfortably into their base. They have to be careful with that, but oh, and the site's already getting caught.
Yeah, that's a mistake that they were looking for, but Jing able to answer back, is able to find a kill onto Kevin. 2 marksmen's down for both teams now. It's vying for position. Who's going to be able to get the first one down? You can see a big Ayuka able to find himself and escape. Big push there coming out from the mage. Penguin doing the best he can to offset some of this damage. Look at the regen coming from Leo Lee, able to keep his health topped up there from the back end forward, still fending off 3 members of Flash Smileadon. I'm actually surprised we didn't get more kills there. It was just the marksman that sparked that engagement. Both teams went balls to the wall there, and now we are at the Tempest Dragon.
Yeah, we're at that 20-minute mark when the Tempest Dragon will be spawned, and this will be the decisive team fight that both sides need to secure to get that victory, right? For Flash Smileadon, they know they can't push into the base. They tried so hard to close that and secure that victory, but then they just cannot close that door right here with the defense capabilities coming in from N19, and this team fight will be the deciding factor, Private.
Muaji, I don't think they see Muaji on the map. On the backside over there, they're looking for a big engagement here. Muaji comes in from the backside. Oh, a nice immortality there. That wasn't even the immortality, that was the freeze. Able to trick Muaji, who came in for the kill and now gets killed off their self. 2 down for the side of Flash Smileadon. N19 smell blood in the water. Continuing on this fight, big push comes on to Leo Lee, takes the dash, looking for an escape. Nobody yet has set foot onto this Tempest Dragon just yet. At the bottom lane, you can see B tier mid does actuate a fight against the Demon Cat. Now an engagement here onto this Tempest Dragon, but M19 don't exactly have the damage here just yet.
Yeah, I mean, they are trying to get started onto this dragon, but they do need the entire team, and whether Flash Smileadon will have the time to respond to that will be very important here. They don't want to lose this objective, because that could be what N19 needs to finish that push.
Oh, they're gonna come in there and stolen away by Demon Cat. Like a thief in the night, Mirror Domain is out. A flash comes out, and I was just about to say, somebody needs to get onto Demon Cat. The worst thing you can do for your jungler on your team is allow a 50-50 smite onto that objective. You need to be the frustration. You need to be in their face. You need to be stopping them and not allowing it. It should not be a 50-50 for your jungler. You need to provide them all the opportunity that they need to be able to get that. And just like that, we have Tempest Dragons coming down the line in what could be the final push for Flash Smileadon. You have incoming Demon Cat putting on the damage, and even with the new one, My Shiranu finds a kill onto Kevin. That's going to be a 3-person crowd control. Down to 50% is the core. Tempest Dragons hammering away at it, and Flash Smileadon walk away with the victory.
I mean, it all came down to the Tempest Dragon, right? That dragon is exactly what Flash Smileadon needed to close the game and actually push down into the base. And what a great smite coming in from Jing.
Yeah, and I almost kind of I wish I could look back and understand what happened at those first few seconds at the Tempest Dragon when it was just the roam Yaka and it was just Ford there trying to hammer it down. I'm kind of like, where's the rest of the team? What are we doing? Those few seconds allowed Flash Smileadon to get into position, allowed Demon Cat to get in there and find that smite. Like I said, a lot of people like to look at the jungler and be like, oh, you missed a smite. You should never put your jungler in that position where he has to 50-50. You should be giving him all the advantage, CCing the enemy, pushing them away, clearing them out, and unfortunately here, Flash Smileadon took advantage of that and pushed to victory.
I mean, especially, right, when you have a man advantage up against your opponent, where the Mai and the Arlie were still spawning from the base, taken down before the team fight. But it does seem like N19 wasn't all playing as one, right? They didn't have everyone near the Tempest Dragon pit and really securing that vision that it needs for Ogwen to actually get the Tempest Dragon. And honestly, like, from the games that I've watched so far, when you lose to Tempest Dragon and you don't kill the opponent who got it, you're pretty much setting yourself for failure.
Yeah, and that was another thing too. Yeah, you're exactly right. They were able to come in, find the steal, absolutely zero punishment coming in from N19. They just kind of Pikachu faced there for a moment, and then the Tempest Dragons came down to their lane, and it was a wrap after that. Unfortunate for N19, but man, Flash Smileadon continuing their dominating ways.
I mean, honestly, they are one of the best teams for this tournament so far, so I'm not surprised by their performance, but still a great show coming in from N19, right? They almost had the comeback that we were hoping for. They almost took down and the Tempest Dragon and be able to secure that victory, but it does seem like towards the late game when you have all the lanes crashing down into your base, when you just want to get that Tempest Dragon, right? You want to get that win as fast as possible, but at that point in the game, you really have to have the mentality and play strategically rather than by fear.
I almost feel like this is a common thing that we saw throughout the entire game, and something that I would be working on if I am N19, and that kind of comes to our objective focus and what priority those mean for us, and what we're doing around a lot of these objectives. Because I feel like in that aspect, N19 kind of lacked in that last game, and it kind of showed piece by piece as it started building up and building up.
Yeah, and with that game played, let's take a look at the standings really quickly. We just had 2 round robins, Flash Smileadon coming on top in favor for both games. That does put them at the challenger position for this week, but we're still going to see a game from N19 versus Stamina Esports and see which team actually comes on top in that.
Yeah, it's very exciting to see what we have. I mean, that was the big question for a lot of people, at least for me right now, when it came to those 2 dominating forces that we've seen here in the best of 3s, who was going to come out on top. Flash Smileadon having a very dominant showing here when it comes to the round robin. Just one more match left to see who's going to be moving. Actually, to see who moves forward, but I think that's already pretty much written.
Yeah, it has been decided that Flash Smileadon, I mean, this is how round robin works, right? You have 3 teams playing the round robin, and if one team plays 2 games and already wins both games, that immediately already puts them at the challenger position, right? So Flash Smileadon played by the books and showed us the menace that they are in this tournament. They are one of the strongest teams, and it does seem like for tomorrow's matches, we'll have a rematch between the challenger and the 2 standing teams moving forward, right? So Flash Smileadon will be the challenger for this week. They've shown us how strong they are, and tomorrow is when they get the revenge.
Yeah, I'm very excited to see how this works. Flash Smileadon absolutely taking these teams to court. They were able to execute and address all of the issues that we've seen even from the last week's here. You can see the contestants for tomorrow's game. The challenger, this time Flash Smileadon, will go up against DJB Club, and the winner of that match going up against BYL. It's going to be, I mean, it's very familiar faces for our Sunday. Flash Smileadon able to kind of resurrect that momentum that they needed and that confidence. We're going to see if that momentum is going to lead them to a victory tomorrow.
I mean, last week we've seen DJB Club actually gather that momentum throughout the 2 days of tournament, and that kind of put them ahead of Flash Smileadon, right? But this week, the tides have turned. Flash Smileadon got 2 days worth of dominating performance, and now walking in towards phase 3 up against DJB Club again, maybe they will have the advantage this time in their hands.
Yeah, I'm excited to see how it works out. Great games played by all the teams here. We saw some pretty dominant performances and some pretty crushing defeats. Unfortunately, there's just no way around it. When you get to this level of competition, you're gonna hit a wall at some point, and the biggest thing that a team can do is be able to take that licking, review what went wrong, and be able to kind of bounce back and close up some of those cracks, those non-support things that we saw or that they saw when it comes to either the draft or their rotations or objective focus.
I mean, here I thought that STMN Esports actually have another chance up against N19, but it does seem like the battlefield is just as cruel as life, and when you already missed your chance, and when Flash Smileadon secured that victory, next week is your only shot, right? So with that being said, a great performance coming in from all the teams this week. They've got the practice that they need, and as a community tournament, they just want to garner more support and gather more practice and experience, right? Every tournament counts. So that's a great game from all the teams. And now, moving forward, Private, it does seem like we have an interview coming our way with some of the players, and we get to really hear from the players. Actually, we will have the last game, STMN Esports playing up against N19. I was hoping for this, and I called it, and now we're here, Private, walking into the last round robin of today. Production heard me.
You called it. Absolutely, that's what happened. As we move in to the second draft here, or as we move into the first draft of this best of one, N19 taking on Stamina here. Stamina still looking for their first win of the day. They did get a bye here to the round robin here, and we're gonna see how these drafts shape out.
Yeah, I mean, this game they're really just playing for their own glory, right? They want to prove that they're the better team. Not too much stake at hand for either of these teams because the challenger has already been decided, but still they're looking to show us a great performance. And looking at the draft so far, I like the picks that I'm seeing, right? I like the high up matched up, paired up with the odd one. Very strong early game. And finally, are we gonna see the Dharma on the map, Private?
Yeah, first Dharma pick has been banned out throughout most of these series so far. Big thing has been, I don't think that we've actually seen an Aguda shut down yet. I think that they've got a pretty hefty win rate so far. Just the ability to dive underneath the tower. You're gonna have the Zhongfei there as well. So that's two big tanky boys that can get underneath your tower and absolutely force your opponents back from it. And I'm wondering, what are we gonna be able to do? I do like the Ogren pick though with that. You're going to be able to kind of, if Ogren is there, he's going to be able to kind of get there, soak up a lot of that damage, soak up a lot of that health from anybody who dives underneath there. I'm very interested to see if N19 is going to be able to have that same success with the Aguda, where you're just diving underneath towers and just the enemy's powerless to be able to stop a lot of these macro pushes.
Yeah, and with something like the Dynamo, right, we have to see how he's actually played out in this game. Paired up with the Aguda. Aguda is really strong in their early game to mid game, putting a lot of pressure on the map. But I do really like the Dharma pick, right? He has so much wombo combo potential. Looks like for Kevin, he's considering some familiar marksmans and is going to secure that HoK.
Yeah, it's going to be very exciting. I'm interested to see, especially now we have the Guan Yu picked up again. They're going to be able to get to that back line. It
Yeah,
can be
for
anybody's
sure.
game here. I like the CC.
Yeah, I do like the CC. I mean, Guan Yu up against Dharma in the lane, I would say both, it could be an even matchup for both sides, and how the heroes actually being played is really important, right? Flowborn Marksman so far has had a pretty strong performance all throughout this entire tournament. Even though last game, Flowborn Marksman wasn't able to actually secure that victory, he did so much throughout the game and win the lane as well, for a hero like that with so much late game potential, right? So I think both drafts are looking pretty strong. We just have to see how the teams execute their drafts and execute that win condition and get to the late game that they need to really flourish.
Yeah, I'm very excited to see as we start into this final match of the night. We're going to see, we've already seen how Guan Yu can have that early game advantage that we're probably not too used to seeing. One thing that I haven't seen tonight has been Haya domination. I feel like she's kind of been left out in the cold. Once you get that level 4, you really want to kind of take advantage of all the damage that you're going to be able to do, being able to take some members to that domain that is separate and kind of trapped away from everybody else. But unfortunately, we haven't been able to see too much of that in these last few series.
I mean, this game could be the game you call for the domain, right? You want to see more highlights into the domain. Now, looks like both sides are going to keep it calm, keep it relaxed, keep it like how it usually is in the early game, right? You want to do what you got to do to get your farm, to win your lane. Not too much team fight happening yet.
Yeah, on the back end, you do have the Zhongfei coming in down to the bottom to help out a NAKA. Looking to try to maybe help out when it comes to that bird, but not able to kind of capture it. Ooh, and you see the Dharma already. A big oppressive force against against B tier mid there in this clash lane.
Yeah, I mean, B tier mid is CA A tier clash. We'll have to find out, but it seems like Agoda, did so much with that bear.
Just some great organization. I mean, same thing. A great organization from N19 just to have 3 members up there for that gank to be able to cut off that escape. A great bait there by N19 and able to clean up to get that first kill on the board for their team.
I mean, just like you mentioned, right? Agoda has been doing so well in this tournament, having such a presence on the map. All the teams who have taken it so far have actually been able to win with the Agoda. So I don't actually know what you can do against a comp like that.
What a beautiful Sunfire arrow there coming from Kevin, able to lock onto Lei there and stuns him while his team is coming in for the flank. Just perfect timing coming from N19. Great job by them. That's going to keep them up at 2-0 right now. Unfortunate for the side of Stamina.
Yeah, with a hero like Agoda, right? She has so much just presence and also so much mobility all across the map, and she actually has so much push potential even as a jungler, right? So you don't want to let her snowball and let her continuously open the map for her team. So for the side of Stamina, they really have to look for a fight back and potentially have Dharma free up in his lane and come and do a wombo combo on the enemy side.
Yeah, here right now we're looking to see how well we can kind of maybe turn this a bit around. Already about a 1k gold lead for the side of N19. There's the damage coming out from the side from Pigwin, who's already showed how great he is on this Guan Yu, especially when it comes to that early game. He's just so precise with that. You don't, dare I say, you don't expect it, to how well he's able to kind of get these shots off and really make use of all of the damage coming out. Speaking of which, a bit of CC coming out here, and not long for this world is with death, goes in the wrong direction and gets taken out. That's going to be 3-0 for N19 here, trying to expand their gold lead.
Yeah, you mentioned with something like the Ganamo, right? He has suffered a nerf from the itemization changes this season, so he's not the strongest mid lane, but as a hero like that, right, you have so much late game damage. So even with a great player like Pigwin, like what we've seen with Smileadon as well, you can really still leverage that into your pocket.
Ooh, we were just talking about what you do against this great pushing power that you have from the side of N19, and just like that, we were able to see that Zing goes in there on that Leon Poe and finds a good amount of CC. They were able to answer it back with a kill of their own. Speaking of which, another kill on the board for N19, 5-0 right now. And N19 doing a great job, big engagement here from the back end. Look at Pigwin, the big boy damage coming out while the team is still engaged to try and take on this front line. Another kill for Pigwin, putting on the damage.
See, that's what happens with something like Haya, right? When you're in the pit, you have no idea what's going on and where your position is. So for your teammates, they have to be there by your side to actually protect you after getting out of the pit, especially when you're fighting something so tanky, like what she was doing, right? With
Yeah, and right now, as they're moving their way through, they go ahead, they open up the mid lane tower. That means that the rest of this jungle is going to be ready for them to kind of pretty much pour through. Big pop-ups come out here, but I mean, it's on forward on this Agudo. So, I mean, you got a tanky boy there that you're really not going to be able to burst down. They're doing a great job of rotating, keeping this tanky front line in front. That's the only thing that's getting caught, and that's the only thing that they're allowing to get caught. The fact of the matter is, too, they're kind of baiting out a lot of their tanky front line, a Yaka or Ferd to go up front so that they can take some of these abilities. Once those abilities are down, they immediately lock onto the back line. 7-0 right now, about a 2K gold lead for N19.
And when you have a comm like N19, right, when you have the HoE who has less of a mobility but so much damage and vision throughout the map, and pretty strong in the early game as well, I would say, and a Ganamo, when you have that strong front line and protection for Ganamo and HoE, you can actually pop off as a hero as the flash is happening, and wow.
Just another unbridled outburst comes out, paired up with the damage from Pigwin on that Ganonmo. Finds some easy kills. Vex is down, followed by Zing. I don't even think they know what hit them. We talking to look at some of the items that the Venomous Staff has already been picked up by Pigwin, so he's been able to, he's already going to be scaling so well. Next to him, you can see Kevin on this Hoi-Yi. The damage he's going to be able to output right now, we're only at the 6 minute and 36 second mark. And these guys are outputting such huge amounts of damage. He's trying to pair it up here against the Haya. Is he going to be able to? Looking at this fight, they come in. Haya able to get back underneath the tower. Fade finds himself an escape, and before he gets 2 down. I thought Kevin actually got taken off the board, but he was able to take down 2 on the back foot after he got out of that domain.
But at what cost, right? Even though Haya got away, it left the jungler up for grabs, and it left his team just falling behind step by step. And Hoi actually popping off, right? Hoi, I think, is a pretty rewarding marksman to play, especially if you're not looking at the most competitive caliber. I think with Hoi, you can play it pretty well in ranked, I would say. So for all you guys watching out there, comment below if you're actually a HoE player.
A HoE player who was able to actually get himself away after that domain. I'm surprised that STMN was not able to put him away. Not just that, but then Kevin's able to turn it around and find himself 2 kills of his own. Underneath the tower now, you can see a big amount of damage coming onto Stamina. 12-0 right now. You talk about domination coming out from both of these teams. N19 now underneath the tower. Razor Cavalry comes in. Big pop-up lands. Leon Poe is getting shredded by that damage from Pigwin. Ferd actually able to pick up the kill. 2 down for Stamina. Enemy knocking at their door, but finally a bit of reprieve as N19 back up. Ooh, we see a little Burning Sun arrow just meandering across the map.
I mean, it will take a miracle for Stamina to actually come back from that, right? It's such a decisive advantage looking at the map 8-minute mark, and N19 securing a 10,000 decisive gold advantage.
Oh man, you can already see that Dragon's Rage has been picked up by B tier mid. So every single time he's in the back line, every single time he's able to land that cavalry, he's going to be able to get all of his health back from all the members that he's charging at. And not just that, but Pigwin with these sniper shots on this Gon and Mo, absolutely obliterating the members of Stamina with death. Didn't even see what happened. Top tower looking at no more, 2 more members down for the side of Stamina. Leon Poe goes in, Cavalry is out, pushing him back. He finds the kill there. HoK with another kill of his own and a complete team wipe. N19 domination.
A complete landslide going in favor of N19, securing that victory with a decisive 19-0 stats. That is crazy, Private.
Yeah, a very dominating game. I mean, shades of their first series that we saw here today as well. The Pigwin needs to be stopped on that Ganon Mo. There needs to be something, not just him, but I mean, just that play we saw from Kevin, who gets caught in the domain. Fade doing everything he could in that domain to be able to take down Kevin, but unfortunately, as they both got out, Fade found himself an escape, but Kevin, he was hungry for blood, able to take down 2 members after that. There was just an immense amount of damage coming out from the side of N19, and unfortunately for Stamina, just not able to keep up.
Yeah, they had that late game damage. They had that back line. They had that front line set. They had the more mobility and more crowd control coming from the Jiangfei and the something like a Goda, and they had that win condition that they were able to kind of get to quite early into the game.
Yeah, a great game played by both. Unfortunately for Stamina, just not able to find that rhythm that they needed right from the get-go here. Just so much allowed. Even having the Dharma on your team, they just were not able to find the angles that they needed right from the get-go. Just not able to find those the setting potential that you get with a Dharma, even though it was left out.
Yeah, I mean, with a pick like Dharma, he really have to find the opportunities to find those big multi-man engages and actually get his team, the team fight that they need to come online. But unfortunately, we didn't see the Dharma pop off with that game. But I'm excited to see him played more in potentially the matches coming forward as we move forward to tomorrow's matches.
Yeah, we're going to see now as we take a look at the standings, that wraps up all the matches that we had for today. You can see there from Phase 1, the victors there, Flash, Smileadon, N19, and Stamina moved on to Phase 2, round robin. Phase 2, which was a best of 1, and the victors of that, Flash Smileadon, after all the dust had cleared, will be moving on to Sunday.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, N19 has proven to us viewers that they are a menace, but still Flash Smileadon comes on top with the experience that they bring. They will move forward into Phase 3 as the challenger of Week 2. So great job for Flash Smileadon and a chance for revenge.
Yeah, chance for revenge indeed. They really, I feel like I almost feel bad for some of the teams because they really kind of, I feel like they were punching up pretty hard to really kind of break through, not taking it easy on any of these teams.
Yeah, I mean, they had the hunger for victory. They were not happy with the performance last week, and they want to show us how dominating that they are with this week's matches. So absolutely great performance coming in from Team Flash. Smileadon, they had the experience. They showed us their skill and their capabilities, and a victory is exactly what they deserve.
Yeah, I mean, man, exciting time, but I do believe we have ourselves a little interview with Muaji. Hopefully I'm saying that right, Muaji.
Hello, Muaji. Congratulations on your team's victory.
Thank you very much. How are you guys doing?
Yeah, so yeah, great performance for you guys. Did you expect you guys to kind of dominate every single team this week?
This is what we're supposed to do because, you know, we have a lot of experience and we're confident about our ability to play the game. So yeah.
So let me ask then, where do you think, I guess maybe in the most broadest terms, where do you think things went wrong for you last week, and what have you done this week that you think is going to change the outcome?
Oh, last week we're missing our starter, so I think that's probably why. And this week everyone's ready, and you know.
No.
And
we
ready
do some,
you are.
You know, we do some little video replay, we watch it together, and you know, find out the problem.
And you're confident, right, with tomorrow's matches. I kind of want to know, for your team, you have been the KMW representative in the previous seasons, right? Is the lineup still the same? And how? What are your practice schedules? Or can you tell us a bit about your team?
Oh yeah, so yeah, our lineup is the same as the one that we went to KMW, and you know, been playing together for a while already. Although we didn't play like for the last like half year and stuff, but like when the team is here, everyone's here, we're ready. We got a chemistry, and yeah, our team, we don't really like practice because we've been practiced a lot. But you know, this tournament is like a really good opportunity, you know, for the team like us that, you know, want to play 5v5, you know, a lot of teamwork. You know, it's really good opportunity. Shout out to Dave.
Yeah, shout out to our production team in the backline working so hard. And you guys have proven today that you're incredible in as a team and working together, right? And moving forward to tomorrow, you have another chance up against DJB Club. What is one thing that you think you will have to work on compared to last week in order to secure that victory?
I think we just have to have fun, you know, just have fun, do what you gotta do.
You know,
We're most likely gonna win it if we're ready for that.
You know, it's interesting that you say have fun, because BYL in their interview last week talked about what change they made during their series to actually have success was to just go with the heroes they liked, go with the heroes that they like to play, and no matter what was countered out there. So it's a very interesting that you say just have fun. I feel like a lot of you, especially when it comes to the skill level that you guys possess, like fun it just brings out something different in you guys. It's a lot just smoothness from you. And then that you guys are talking about that you don't practice that much, but the synergy that you have to be able to play at this level, especially the domination that we saw here today. I think complete total like was maybe 30 minutes of matches that we saw from you guys for like two series. It's pretty dominant, and I'm very excited to see you guys tomorrow.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah, and before we let you go, can you tell us, is there anything that you want to say to the viewers watching out there and supporting you guys? Anything you want the viewers to know about your team?
Yeah, hey, thank you guys very much for the support, and you know, one day you guys can be at this level. Just putting work, watch some KPL or some you know, other regions tournament, and you'll get better. One day you'll be here.
Whoa. Wow, he just said get good. Watch some KPL and get good.
Everyone, get better.
Get better. Get better, and maybe you have a chance to fight up against Smileadon. Thank you so much, Mwaji, for the interview, and best of luck for you guys tomorrow.
Yeah. Thank you guys. Yeah.
You heard that, Liz? Pretty much that means me and you could be at the top of this game. Yeah, we just need to put in some hours there.
Watch some KPL.
So, all right, guys, thank you so much for the opportunity, but let's take a look at the schedule coming up for us. You can see here tomorrow, our top 3 teams in North America. It is going to be Flash Smileadon taking on DJB in the first match of Phase 3. That is going to be a best of 5. The winner of that match takes on our current champions, BYL. A little bit of a grudge match there to see if they can take and dethrone the current champions. It's going to be so exciting, and I can't wait.
Yeah, I mean, the confidence that Mwaj just showed with that interview, right? They are ready to face up against DJB Club once again, and they're having fun, right? All through the tournament, all through the matches that we've seen so far today with Smileadon, it does seem like they're having a lot of fun and is playing what they want to play. A lot of meta heroes as well, but they're able to perform so well on those heroes. So a great performance, and we're really excited to see how that confidence comes in tomorrow up against DJB Club. We haven't heard from anyone from DJB Club yet, right, Private? But maybe tomorrow it could be anyone's game.
Yeah, I'm excited, but I do know that DJB Club and BYL just need to be careful. I feel like Flash Smileadon, they've got an aura of confidence. They've got all their players. They got that synergy. They are ready, and they are a steamroller that is going to need to be stopped.
Yeah, I mean, confidence and aura is what he wrote for that interview, and we're excited to see how they actually perform and execute that tomorrow, right? Great games from all the teams today. We love seeing everyone have fun with this tournament and hope everyone watching is having fun. I had a lot of fun casting alongside Private once again. It was a great day today. Private, last words you have for the viewers before we wrap things up?
No, as always, guys, a big hand to all of the people who take part in the production and the staff and rounding up the kittens that are all of these players and teams to make sure that they're all ready for their games and their series and stuff like that. Sometimes teams just can't make it, and we have to adjust as it comes along. If you guys love what you see here and you want to see more, subscribe, like, thumbs up, whatever you need to do, tell a friend, and yeah, let them know.
Yeah, click the like, subscribe, and with that being said, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed today's tournament, and we'll see you at Phase 3 tomorrow. See you then.